Honk. Hello everyone, what's going on? Arvanauts, welcome everybody to a bonus stream. I told you this might happen. I told you it was possible. I told you it could occur. And now it has occurred. And now you're here. I don't know why it's suddenly coming out as like see, the possibilities are endless. But yes, the time has come for us to do a little bit of a bonus stream with Legacy of Dragonholt. So I am glad about that. So I'm actually doing this. And doing a little bit of a bonus stream. I really wanted to at least get through the one little adventure we were doing. Now, don't get used to this because I only have so much time, and for the rest of the week, Wednesday and Thursday, I'm going to be off, and then I won't be back till Friday and so on. So I can't do this constantly, but I am definitely excited about doing a little bit more of this game today. I do want to warn everybody, this is probably not going to be a super long stream, and I probably will have to stop somewhere in the middle of it for a few minutes while I tuck little Arv in for bed, as I usually try to do if I can. So I'm just letting you all know that's going to be the case. But otherwise, this should be, I think, a good time, and we will be ready to go with some Legacy of Dragonholt. Before I get there, I've already talked about this a couple of times already from earlier streams, so I'm just going to say, if you have not already done so, please follow the channel. Check out the YouTube with !ArvTube, the Discord with !ArvCord, the Twitter with !ArvTweets, the website arvaneleron.com, and of course on the financial side !ArvShop, !ArvTreon for the Patreon, Arv, I said that already. Sub to the channel, which a few of you have done today. Thank you so much for that. And if you haven't already done so, please consider supporting me on the publishing side. Icarus, that is the Icarus graphic novel with Athos Arts. Finalist for the IBPA Benjamin Franklin Awards. Final vote of that will be happening next month. Greyshade KS is my Greyshade Kickstarter with the amazing people from Athos Arts publishing Greyshade. That'll be happening in the next couple of months. And then the Kickstarter will be the end of summer, early fall. And then we've got Library, which is Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library, my 5e adventure source book from Alligator Alley Entertainment, which is handling the tabletop role-playing side of things. Finally, as always, I want to reverse the order of this for a minute. Help Now. That is the World Health Organization page on suicide prevention. Again, very important to reach out to others when they need help and to reach out to others when you need help as well. And the other thing that we always talk about is BLM. And for this, I just want to say one thing, which I will do this way. So, hi everyone, good to see you all. Welcome to my green abode today. So I just want to say one thing, which I think is really important about this before we get into the stream today, and that is about what we talked about regarding what you may have seen in terms of the verdict on the George Floyd decision. I'm not going to get into too much detail about this. I am relieved. A lot of people, I think, on Twitter, of the people that I follow anyway, was very relieved to see not only that the verdict was unanimous, that it was 3 counts of guilty, but that it was fairly fast, which is because it was an open and shut case. But the thing that I want to point out that I've seen quite a bit, and I think this is critically important, is this is not justice, it's accountability. Justice would mean that George Floyd was home tonight with his family. Justice would mean that Breonna Taylor was home tonight with her family. Justice would mean that Trayvon Martin was home tonight with his family, and on and on and on. Justice would mean that these people had not died in the first place. This is at least one little sliver of accountability. That said, though, I am also not going to jump on the bandwagon of it makes no difference and it has no effect and it means nothing because the larger problem is so much bigger. The larger problem is so much bigger, but that doesn't mean this was nothing. Let's take the victories when we get them. Let's recognize that at least a step towards accountability was taken, and let us recommit ourselves to justice for all, because the reaction I've seen from a lot of people was relief, was joy over the sense that something happened that wasn't the same old thing that always happens, but also a lot of deep sadness because even this doesn't get back George Floyd. And so I just want to say clearly that on the one hand, I don't want us to be like, okay, good, so we're all set, because we're not. But I also don't want us to be like, whatever, it means nothing, because that's not true. It does mean something, but it's only a step. And our job is to continue to push forward and make more steps. We do that by building community. We do that through representation. We do that through a wild, huge, enormous reform of policing. I saw someone today was talking about that, some police organization said, this is challenging the very way that we do policing. I'm like, you're damn right it does. So, these are the steps that we have to take. And it's something which I try to replicate in a small way in my own life and on this channel. So for those of you who are coming to this channel and have had some thoughts about this or are thinking about it, it was good to see that there was a step towards accountability. That's all it is, but it is that and not nothing. So I am feeling relieved, but there's a long way to go, and we all do that together. So one of the ways that we do that is by working together in common purpose, bringing ourselves together in cooperative work. And that's what we're doing with this, with Legacy of Dragonholt. And so with no further ado, let us deal with, oh, no, wait a minute. Oh, there we go. Let us deal with this. Now, I'm really hoping that my camera is not going to do the thing that it's been doing. It's a little too far. That my camera will not do the thing that it's been doing, which is sort of slipping down. I tried to make a couple of adjustments to it last night. I hope that that will make a difference. Let us hope so. But right now this is the best we can do. But I just love this setup so much that I'm kind of like, hey, that's good. Yes, thank you. I was thinking about that actually. I thought about that, Triff, and I'm like, hell yeah, like Thundercats. If there was ever someone who should have been a Thundercat in another alternate character creation reality, it's Harriet, I think. I feel like that is 100% the case. So we are continuing with Sliver of Silver today, folks. For those of you who were not here in our last adventure, we are almost kind of on a little mini quest here to try to clear out this silver mine of these goblins who have taken it over and are doing mean things to people. So we are going because we cannot have that. In our last session, no big deal. We just hammer blowed someone out of a mine cart, like you do. Like you do all the time. So that was interesting experience, and we're going to get a chance to see more of that sort of thing. So we've got our character sheet, Harriet, right there. We've got our Sliver of Silver tracking sheet, which I need to have by me. We have got our Dragonholt Village tracking sheet. I'm going to put that there because we're not using that right now. We have the story tracking sheet, which we are using, and of course we've got our items. It was super epic, yeah. That was crazy epic. So we've got a healing potion. We have got a strange mushroom, which is super strange. And we've got a wooden trinket. I still want to, I hope that there's going to be some way where the trinket gets us out of something. I feel like there's going to be a moment where the trinket is going to actually do something for us. And boy, what a great day that's going to be. Okay, let me get my pen. I had to go so far for this chat. I had to stand up, lean over, and get this. It's true. It's true. Harriet is really a work in progress, right? She learns so many things. So we are on 6323. We need some music. Let's get some music here. Let's do some forest music today because we did some... yesterday we were using our friends from Green Forge. We were doing some tavern music, which is great, of course, but let's do some forest music here. So let me fire this up and then... oh, there we go. All right, now hang on a second. Well, I don't have any mine music, specifically mine music, Miranda. So I'm sorry that I can't give you mine music. I don't have that. They call it a mine. A mine. This is not mine music. Mine? Not mine music. Mine music has more drums. Yeah. Listen, if you want to tell... Look, Miranda, if you want to tell, like, Harriet, that it's not mine, her music, you can do that, okay? Listen, I mean, it's your funeral. Drums in the deep. Okay, how's the music volume, everybody? I love this setup so much, can I just say? I love the setup. The lights, the lights look so good. This setup, as long as the camera doesn't move down, looks so good. I get this thing. I just am so happy with it. Could it come down a bit? Okay. No problem. I can address that. How's that? Better? Is that better? Test 1, test 2, better? Okay. All right, let's do it. Sliver of silver. So, 6323. Okay. Having dealt with the... I read this first as the flexing goblin. Nudge it up 5%. Nah, I think I'm gonna leave it as for now, Miranda. I think because I'm afraid I'm gonna overdo it the other way. Okay. So, having dealt with the fleeing goblin, not the flexing goblin, let it be said, but the fleeing goblin, you take a better look at your surroundings. This larger tunnel was clearly carved by the underground river, but the back wall has been braced with sturdy wooden beams, and multiple mine shafts have been dug through the stone. To the left, the tunnel is blocked off by a dam made of tarred wood and fortified with iron bands. Water from beyond the dam spills into a channel that passes under the bridge that you rode over in the minecart. To the right, the natural... Yeah, like a good character, flexing goblin. To the right, the natural passage continues on until you can no longer see its walls through the darkness. Braced against one of the support beams some 10 paces away stands a rickety wooden shack that must have once served as a foreman's office. Is story point H6 marked? It is not, so... The dam bows in the middle from years of water pressure. Water pours through gaps along the top of the dam that you take to be emergency overflow relief. Despite the water pouring forth, the dam still creaks occasionally under the immense pressure of the river it holds back. The water channel you crossed is swollen far beyond intended levels, and a thin layer of water covers the ground and drains down into the multiple mine shafts that lead away from the main chamber. You can see a large pipe nearly as wide as your arm is long that extends up from the water beyond the dam and up through the stone ceiling. The piping is still and silent. See, they told us that this dam was a problem and that they wanted to make sure that they could actually use the mine again once we get rid of the goblins. So we are not in a position to just be like, oh, whatever, who cares? So I don't know that we can hammer blow a dam. Do you think we can we minecart hammer blow a dam? Is that possible? Okay. Suddenly, you realize that two goblins have been standing a few paces away from you for some time. One of them holds a spear and gawks at its incapacitated comrade. The other carries a bow and stares wide-eyed in your direction. The goblin archer clutches at the arrows in the makeshift quiver at its belt. The spear-wielding goblin turns its gaze towards you and rushes at you, shouting. Okay, so here are the three options, chat. Exactly. We've got brace yourself to receive the charge. We've got dodge the spear strike and counterattack, or we've got fire at the goblin archer with your own bow, which requires archery. We do have that skill. The other one is pepper the archer with thrown knives, but that requires thievery, and we don't have that. So we can either brace ourselves to receive the charge, dodge the spear strike and counterattack, or fire at the goblin archer with your own bow. Oh yeah, sorry. I forgot I need to move that out of the way. There we go. Or fire at your own bow. Or fire with your own bow. So, chat, tell me in chat what you would like to do. Suplex it, damn. Would you like to brace yourself, dodge the spear strike and counterattack, or fire at the goblin archer with your own bow? I mean, we do have archery. We are Legolas. I mean, this is straight up a... this is that moment out of Fellowship of the Ring film when they're in Moria, right? And Legolas hits someone from, like... I don't know, 200 meters with like 1,000 feet away in the dark, you know, lead time. What's up, Blackberry Bear? Hey, Darth Sisu, what's up? All right, fire, 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 fire. Who else? Who else is on board? Fire away. Alrighty, let's see. We are going to fire at the Goblin Archer. It seems like... Okay, seems like everyone's on board with firing away. We are going to fire away. Alright. 80, 81. Okay. You've drawn and knocked an arrow in an instant. The shaft flies and amazingly collides with the goblin's arrow in midair. Like Robin Hooding it up in here. For a moment, neither you nor your opponent can believe what has happened. If you have awareness or willpower, well, we do have awareness. Awareness that we're badass. I mean, I guess that's... the Goblin Archer seems to have found this event hilarious. I wonder why. It begins to laugh and point at the arrows on the ground and jabber something to its spear-wielding companion. You take advantage of the distraction and loose a second arrow at your opponent. The laughter is cut short with a wheeze as you score a direct hit, and the Goblin Archer collapses. So you're like, pew! Shoots the, like, hits the arrow right in the middle of it. The Goblin's like, and then you're just like, really? Oh, man. Goblins, man. Goblins. Alright. Well, so much for the Archer. The spear-wielding goblin is bearing down on you at a run. Its spear point is trained at your chest, and the goblin screams surprisingly loud for a creature its size. Okay, now one of these choices is command the goblin spear to backlash. That's if we have the rune skill, which we don't. So, we can either dodge the spear and counterattack, or disarm the goblin and subdue it. Interesting. Interesting choices. So what do we think, chat? Dodge the spear and counterattack, or disarm the goblin and subdue it? I assume that's where we do the Star Trek, like, da-da! You know, like the classic, you know, hit to the shoulder followed by the hit to the neck, which insta, like, makes, you know, insta takes out anybody. Alright, that's cool, Darth Sisu. Thanks for stopping by regardless. Right, disarm, disarm, disarm. Alright. Disarm, disarm, disarm. Disarm. Alright, we got 4 disarms. So unless I get a big run in the next few seconds of something else, we're probably going to go with disarm, it looks like. And... Alright. Here we go. Time to disarm it. You lower your body, preparing to move as the goblin strikes. Right before the creature thrusts, you shift to one side and step into the oncoming attack. If you have brawling or military, we do have brawling, which again is going to help us. Amazing how often that's helped. You grab the spear by the haft and push it away from yourself while slamming your palm into the goblin's elbow. So wait, you're like this? You hear a crunch and twist the weapon out of the creature's hands. The goblin collides with you harmlessly. So it's like... you spin and throw the creature to the ground, swinging its own weapon down to bludgeon the back of its head. The goblin jolts, then lies still. So it's like... palm, twist, bang with the spearhead? Dang. That's hardcore. Classic Harriet right there. Classic Harriet. We knock a lot of goblins out. Or at least we have so far. I know, right, Marinda? Just as you think you might have found some peace, you hear a sound like oncoming thunder. After some time, the noise resolves into the sound of countless goblin feet flooding into the cavern. That's not good. In moments, the chamber is filled with goblins flowing out of the tunnels and packing shoulder to shoulder in a ring surrounding you. Take on all goblins. Destroy all. Okay. The goblins jeer and brandish weapons and torches. This really is Moria and Fellowship. Though the air is filled with malice, none of them attack. The door of the foreman's office creaks open and the goblin horde falls silent. In the doorway stands the single largest goblin you've ever seen. Easily half again the height of any other goblin, and as wide as he is tall, rolls of fat cascading from his chin. Unlike the other goblins, who wear no more than worn leathers, this one is outfitted with a bewildering array of armor, all too big or too small for him. A fine breastplate has been deconstructed into sections and lashed awkwardly across his chest. What were once fine velvet trousers are being held up by a hard-working combination of a sturdy leather belt and suspenders. And a huge winged helmet sits atop his head, underneath which peek small, pig-like orange eyes. The vast goblin surveys the room with a superior glare and idly fingers an iridescent stone fragment on a cord around his neck. He steps out of the office in a manner that seems a passable attempt at looking regal, shutting the door behind him with a slap that shakes the whole of the structure. He then immediately ruins the grandeur of his exit by taking a final disgusting chomp of the rat on a stick he holds in his left hand and tossing the reins dismissively to the side, eliciting a yelp from the unfortunate underling it hits. "I am the great Splig, king of all goblins!" he bellows, throwing his arms wide, spraying bits of half-chewed rat from his maw. So, one of the options that we have is, "Oh great Splig, I come bearing a warning," but we would need to have deception or performance, and that is definitely not Harriet. So, we either can say, "Who?" or "You must leave this place." What's it going to be, chat? We either say, "Who?" or "You must leave this place." Who? Who? Yeah, I feel like I feel like this is such a softball. Like, you just hear this and you're like, "Okay, rat on a stick, boy. Okay, who is what we're doing?" I think that sounds wise to me. Oh wait, that was... Oh yeah, 1420, right. 61. The rotund goblin's eyes widen. Several goblins gasp in shock. One snickers, but is quickly silenced by the heavy fist of the so-called Goblin King. The massive creature approaches you and his minions part to allow him through. Suddenly, the fat goblin begins to laugh. "What rock have you been living under that you haven't heard of Splig, the king of all goblins? I am known across all the lands as..." Okay, now our choices are either, "I don't care about all that, you need to leave," or "Draw your weapon and prepare for battle." So what's it going to be? Either "I don't care about all that, you need to leave," or "Draw your weapon and prepare for battle." Don't care. "I am known all across the lands as the big goblin guy, who is a big goblin because he's big. You might even call me the Great Goblin. I had a cousin called the Great Goblin once." Okay, I don't care, I don't care. Others? Other people jumping in with "I don't care"? Don't care. Okay. "I don't care, you silly goblin. Leave or die." Alright, looks like we're pretty definitive on this. So, 9095. A wave of shocked gasps breaks out among the goblin. Splig's face flushes red with rage. The massive goblin stamps his feet and shouts and stammers. How dare you make light of the great Splig? Now you will die!" He shouts something to his goblin minions and holds up his hands to the shrill cheers of his cohorts. He holds out a meaty hand, and the crowd parts for 3 goblins carrying a massive oaken club. Splig takes it from them with satisfaction, patting its gnarled surface as they scurry away. Alright, Craigery, I think, said this was a boss fight, and that was kind of my feel too. With a surprising burst of speed from a creature... Yeah, I know, right? With a surprising burst of speed from a creature so round, Splig swings at you and swings his heavy club overhead. Springs at you and swings his heavy club overhead. You barely have enough time to dodge, and the gnarled wood clips your shoulder, tossing you to the ground to writhe. With the pain surging through you now, you can't imagine you would have survived a direct hit. You lose 3 stamina. Whoa. You scramble away and stagger to your feet. Splig bellows a deep, joyous laugh, and the goblins all around you cackle with glee. The rotund goblin roars and sweeps his club through the air overhead, and his minions unleash a series of cheers in return, causing you to reflexively tense for flight. Splig cracks his neck and grins. "I'll show you," he hefts his club, pointing at you, "just what happens to those who cross Splig, the king of all goblins." Alright, now one of the options we have here is channel runic lightning into your enemy, but we don't have runes. So, we have the following. We could goad him into attacking, we could charge at the giant goblin with everything we have, or, if we have M7 or X8 marked, and we do have M7, we could toss the explosive at Splig's feet and take cover. That's kind of funny. So we could goad him into attacking, we could charge at him with everything we have, or we could be like, psst. We could do that. What should we do, chat? I am Splig. What is that? Toss that explosive. It feels like, oh man, it's so funny. Exactly, Triffin. Alright, we see a lot of people set us up the bomb, I think is what we're talking about. From what it sounds like. Oh man. Okay. $86.59. Okay. You toss the explosive shell and dive behind an overturned minecart. The stick rolls to Splig's feet, sparks dancing at the end of the ever-shrinking fuse. The goblin horde erupts in a cacophony of screaming and shouting as they scramble over one another, attempting to find cover or fleeing the chamber entirely. Splig's eyes go wide. In a panic, he hefts a nearby minecart and slams it upside down over the explosive. Then he leaps onto the cart, perhaps expecting his weight to be enough to contain the blast. The sizzle of the burning fuse stops and a moment of silence falls over the cavern. Now, if X8 is marked, X8 is not marked. So, that means we're on 3936. I have a feeling he's not going to hold that down. I'm just guessing. 3936. A sound like rolling thunder fills the mine, and the shockwave from the explosion topples all the goblins that haven't managed to find cover. Splig and his minecart are sent hurtling through the air. Splig slams into the ceiling, then falls through the roof of the foreman's office, causing the entire structure to collapse on top of him. The airborne minecart sails through the chamber, slams into a massive wooden support beam, ricochets off of it, and crashes into the dam behind you. If story point Y4 is marked, it is not. Otherwise, read entry 7943. Oh man. Alright, 7943. A moment later, Splig appears from out of the wreckage, bloodied, bruised, and all bloodlust gone from his half-unfocused eyes. He staggers forward and plops the winged helmet back on his head. Smaller goblins gather around him, jabbering to one another. Splig kicks a bit of rubble aside and reaches down to lift his massive club. He hefts it and points it in your direction, his beady eyes overshadowed by his oversized helmet. Then, I gotta stand for this one. Then, without a word, he breaks into a dead sprint toward the bridge over the water channel and soon vanishes up the tunnel, heading towards the mine's entrance. Oh man, the classic Princess Bride. Oh man, it's the best. Okay. Yeah. A panic follows, with countless goblins abandoning their weapons and their reason to scramble over one another and follow their cowardly leader. Within a few moments, you were alone in the empty mine. Only the echoing of screaming goblins in the tunnels above and discarded makeshift spears and clubs littering the ground is evidence that these halls were home to a goblin horde. You pick through the leavings, not expecting much. However, under a plank from the foreman's office, you find a shard of iridescent crystal engraved with an ancient symbol. Ah, you gain the war rune. Ah, this is our first rune, chat. We got the rune. We got the rune. We got the rune. With my rune. Okay. War rune. There we go. This runebarn shard would passively enhance your martial prowess if crafted into a weapon or armor. On its own, however, it is no more than a small stone. Alright. Good stuff, people. Okay. And it says read entry 9995. It's a long walk back to the beginning of the mine, but you take comfort in the fact that you don't have to be wary of any goblin ambushes. You opt to avoid the hidden passage you entered by, and instead head to the main entrance, walking past an abandoned guard post and several makeshift wooden barriers. You lift the wooden beam that bars your path, drop it to one side, and throw open the doors. The walk back to Dragonholt will be short, and then you can deliver the good news to Fior. This quest is complete! Read entry 4832 in the Dragonholt Village book. Hell yeah, we did it! And we didn't blow up the mine! The mine still exists in one piece. It did not destroy itself. It's not all gone. It's not completely finished forever. We did it, chat. At least this part we did. Alright, so hang on a second. So new roads. We'll put that like that. So I'm going to put like this. Put that underneath here so I keep it secure. We never even really had time passing because we just went so quickly. Yeah. Well, that's true. Yeah. That's true. Okay. So, oh shoot. What did I just say? What was the number? Darn it. 48 what now? 4832. 4832. 4832. Okay. Yeah, we got to get the rest of the money, Mrs. Dunsel. That's right. And also, maybe she'll be grateful to us. She'll give us more jobs, or maybe she'll like make that war rune into a maybe she'll make the war rune into a into the armor or something like that. That would be nice. Okay, lovely. So here we go. 4832 of this book. Okay. You find your step light as you descend from the hills and pass the mill on your way back into Dragonholt. Fior's harried apprentice, Brill, meets you on the road and leads you straight back to his mistress. You're back, says Fior. Exactly. Yeah, I know, don't take the card gap the job. Says, setting aside a sheaf of yellowing papers. Tell me everything. You summarize your adventure in the mine, being sure to highlight the involvement of Splig, and end by declaring the claim free of goblins and ready to resume operations. Splig, eh? Answers Fior. I think I did the accent wrong. I think the accent was, is that a name I should know? She shakes her head, fingering the silver chain around her neck. Well, good work. I had a feeling I could count on you. She gestures to her apprentice, who places an iron strongbox on the table beside her. She unlocks it and removes a heavy felt bag that clinks and clanks as she presses it into your hands. We had a bargain, and I'm a woman of my word. She snatches up her crutch and stands. Brill! Bozarth! She calls. Then she turns to you. I'd very much like to sit around and toast your victory, but apparently I have a lot of work to do getting that mine up and running again. She grins and stomp drags away. Okay, you gain 150 gold. Hell yeah. Alright, 150 gold. That's here. So we are now up to 270 gold, chat. Mark 2 progress in heroism. Alright. So we're up to 3 heroism. 1 progress in combat training. We are only 1 combat training away. Look at this, chat. We are only 1 combat training away from getting to 6, at which point we could pick up dueling or military. That's how close we are to getting that. 1 progress in physical training also. And once we get to 6 in physical training, we can learn the one that we don't have right now is endurance, I believe. Yeah, endurance we don't have, so we could learn that too once we get physical training. Yeah, back to the bakery. Okay. Mark story. Okay, 1 progress physical training. Mark story point U2. I have lived higher lives. Okay, U2. 2 time passes. And the encounter is complete. Alright. Alright, so it's now heading into nighttime, chat. So this encounter is complete. So we have 2, so basically this is what we're looking at right now, just to sort of reset, okay? It is now clearly night, so a lot of stores are going to be closed, right? But there were places we couldn't go to that, like the Chatty Archer, which is a tavern, right? That should be open now because it's evening, so we could go there. We're sitting at 9 stamina. Now we have 3 healing potions. We could also go back to the Swan and turn in for the night. So we have a lot of different options in terms of places we could go. So with that in mind, I'm going to put down this list. Food! Yeah, we definitely need food. Okay, I'm going to use I have to bring my chair in, chat, or it's going to take me forever if I try to do this just on my knees. So I beg your pardon while I'm out of the way here. All right. What's up, Rockod? Is the bakery going to be open? I don't think so. Because they had a thing in there that already said, Craigery, like, if it's after a certain time, it didn't affect us because it wasn't, but now it is past that time. Tavern might have food, yeah. So, where should we go? So here are our choices. We've got the dragon statues. All right, we've got that. We've got the library, which may well be closed now. We've got the village hall, which may also be closed now. We've got the guard station. No idea if that's closed or not. We have got the smithy. We just came from there. Yeah, in fact, I'm not even going to... Well, I guess I can leave it as an option, but... We've got Market Street. But again, remember, that Market Street is not open even for another couple of days. So we've got the Village Green. We've got the Shrine. We have got Willow Grove, which we just came from. We have got the Drunken Hog. I don't think we've been there yet. I'm assuming that's a tavern, but we haven't actually been there yet. We've got the Apothecary. We haven't been there either, but I'm assuming that's closed. We've got the Bakery, again, probably not open. We've got the Chatty Archer. That probably is open because I think it only opens in the evening time. We've got the Northern Road. We have got the Countess Inn. Presumably would have stuff. We've got Fairfax Manor. We've got the Eastern Road. The Swan, but I think I'm missing something. Oh yeah, the Orchard. Okay, let's see if I've got that right. Yep. All right, chat. Go ahead and get your votes in, everybody. I mean, I'm guessing, you know, it's evening. My guess is tavern, right? But you could also go back to the Swan. Like I say, our stamina is not horrible. I mean, it's 9 out of 14. If we ever get down another couple of points, we could take one of these healing potions, which will recover half of our maximum stamina. And we're back in town, so we're probably okay. But, you know. Oh, I forgot my mouse. Come with me, mouse. I mean, my guess, Mrs. Dunsel, is that either the drunk... Well, Chatty Archer is almost certainly a tavern. I'm guessing that Drunken Hog is also a tavern. Countess Inn probably does tavern-like stuff, and the Swan. For a village, they got a lot of this. So I'm guessing we got Drunken Hog, Chatty Archer, and Countess Inn for sure, and maybe the Swan. But the ones that are most of... I mean, unless Drunken Hog is like... Unless that's not a tavern, but, like, I don't know. Seems weird to me. Like, I don't know why you would call it that if it wasn't, so... But it's possible. But we do know that Chatty Archer is, because when we went there before, it was closed, and it was a tavern. Yep. Yes, exactly. The Swan is where we came from. That's kind of our home base, I feel like. And that's the inn run by our apothecary's mom, yeah. Who we still have no idea where Miriam is, by the way, the apothecary. We haven't seen Braxton since yesterday, or like, you know, much earlier, since this morning, basically. Because we've just been out saving a mine. You know, no big deal. We just went there, took like 5-6 hours, cleared out a mine. Like you do, you know. Alright, going once, going twice, and... Alright, Chatty Archer it is. So Chatty Archer is 6,500. Let's do it. Chatty Archer. An archery butt lies under a maple tree outside this rustic lodge-style tavern. Several arrows are stuck within it, and others stand point down in the earth by the tavern's polished pine wood door. A strung bow hangs over the door, nestled under the awning to protect it from the elements. If 4 or more time has passed today, and it definitely has, read the entry below that corresponds to the current day. Okay, so it's 6501. Day 1, Chatty Archer. You open the door, Chatty Archer Day 1. You open the door and step into a warmly lit hall containing a smattering of oak tables and chairs. A long counter stretches the length of the left wall, bar stools in a row on one side, and a shelf holding bottles of varying shapes, sizes, and colors on the other. If this is your first time visiting this location while it's open, and it is 8752. Okay. A tall human man with broad shoulders stands behind the counter polishing a mug. That's promising. His sleeves are rolled up, revealing muscular arms. He looks up at the door as you enter and gives you a toothy grin and a friendly nod. "You new to Dragonholt?" asked the man behind the counter. "I don't reckon I've seen you before." Actually, no, this is Sam Elliott. "I don't reckon I've seen you before." He gives his mug a once-over and sets it on a lower shelf with others like it. Then he slings the drying cloth over his shoulder and steps toward you. "My name's Hunter. I'm the owner of this here drinking hole." You introduce yourself and glance around the room before taking a seat. There are patrons at several of the tables, men and women enjoying food, drink, and banter. Others are sitting at the bar engaged in conversation with a human woman behind the counter. Beside you sits an elderly human man whittling a small wooden duck. "You look like the adventurous type. Me and my wife Leigh used to do some adventuring before settling down and opening this place. In fact, I used to be an adventurer like you before I took an arrow to the knee. I just made that up, chat." Hunter gestures to the woman behind the counter. She smiles and waves. "Leigh can fix you up something to eat if you're peckish. Just shout at us if you need anything at all." "Oh, adventuring, eh?" exclaims the older man sitting beside you. "I had myself many an adventure in my day. Spent much of my youth making day trips to Eventide Forest, though back then it wasn't as dangerous as it is now." The old man blows on his whittled duck, removing excess wood shavings. If story point V6 is marked, well, let's take a look. V6 is not marked, so we read 2806. Okay. "Is that right?" asked Hunter. "Tell us about it then." The tavern owner sets a small bowl of nuts in front of you as the older man begins to tell a story about climbing trees in the forest. You can tell immediately this story will last some time. Hunter leans over the counter to whisper to you. I don't mind old Theodore. He just likes to tell his stories to anyone who will listen. Can't tell if he forgets he's already told the stories or if he just likes telling them again. You're about to respond when you get the sense that you're being watched. You cautiously glance around the tavern once more until your eyes fall on a hooded figure. You say, "Excuse me, who is that?" Well, what his real name I don't rightly heard, but round here they call him Strider. No, that's it. Your eyes fall on a hooded figure, a woman if you had to guess, sitting alone in the corner. You can barely see her face under the shroud of her ivy green cloak. Suddenly, the cloaked figure stands and exits the tavern through the back door. You follow her into the alley, looking around the corners of the nearby building to ensure no one else is around before calling out to her in a hushed voice. Celise. We found her! We found Celise! Finally. I'm glad you came, said Celise. There's trouble afoot, and I'm getting too old for trouble. Celise doesn't look a day older than when you met her, but then again, she is an elf. I believe that someone is plotting against the noble family here. You might already know that the local lord is Lady Regina Fairfax, Countess of Dragonholt. She had, up until recently, 3 children, Sonia, Rochelle, and Philip. Regina is sick. She seems a little young to me to be dying already, but humans will do that on you, I suppose. So her daughter Sonia was poised to inherit the county. But Sonia came to me and said she had received a letter from her uncle Kirik, Regina's brother. Kirik demanded that Sonia renounce her position and support Kirik's claim to Regina's seat. Sonia refused him, of course. Days later, continues Celise, Sonia fell from her horse, struck her head on a rock, and died. Not suspicious on its own, perhaps, but Sonia was an excellent rider. She was alone in the forest when it happened. I became concerned that Kirik had murdered her. I shared my suspicions with Timothy, Regina's steward, and that night as I returned to my bedroom, a heavy statue in the gallery toppled over and nearly killed me. Celise closes her eyes and leans back, resting her head. So I fled. I'd already sent the letter to you, so I hid in the village waiting. Alright, it says mark story point V6. Okay. Celise stands, brushing down her cloak and taking a deep breath. But nothing unusual has happened since then, and Philip and Rochelle remain safe. It would seem the situation is not as dire as I had suspected. For now, I think it wise for you to acquaint yourself with the villagers and gain their trust. We will need them on our side if it comes to a struggle for leadership. But right now, I will go straight to Lady Regina and tell her everything. Will you come with me? So, we can either say, of course, Celise, let's go now, or go on your own, I have other business to attend to. What's it going to be, chap? Of course, Celise, let's go now, or go on your own. I want a third option, which is, what the hell was your letter all about? Tell me the code. There's a little sodium light here for me. Let's warm it up a little bit. Yeah. Just a smidge. On your own. Right? Of course. Let's go, but explain yourself. Of course, but tell me about this letter. No, that's not an option, sadly. So Mrs. Dunstall says on your own. Craigery and Blackberry Bear. And Triffity Matt says of course, although Triffid would like to also have her explain this freaking letter. Which, you know. Okay, so it looks like we're going with, unless they get more votes here, it looks like we're going with, of course. Okay, let's do it. 54, 55. Okay. You go with Celise to Fairfax Manor, where a middle-aged human woman in servant's livery opens the door for you with an expression of surprise. I must speak with the Countess at once, Matilda, says Celise. Matilda only nods and ushers you upstairs, where Regina's audience chamber lies in the manor's ancient round tower. The Countess's enormous black throne is empty, but the Countess is seated on a carpet by one hearth. She is a human woman of middling years, with fair skin and enormous green eyes. And hang on a second. I just heard the door. All right, chat, bear with me just a second. I'm going to go tuck my daughter in. In the meantime, you can think a little bit about what we're going to say to the Countess. All right, just keep that in mind. I'll be right back. I am back. Welcome everybody. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this character. I think everyone did a good job with it. Okay, where was I? So, yes. So the Countess. Good to see you, Configuration Queen. Yeah, we blew up a great Goblin King. It lived, it ran away. We got 150 gold, we got a lot more stuff, and now we went to a tavern. We found Celise, the one who wrote us the letter in the first place, and she told us that she thinks that someone is trying to kill Lady Fairfax, who is the Countess of Dragonholt. And so we went with her to tell the Lady Regina her suspicions. So, the Countess is a human woman. She is a human woman of middling years with fair skin and enormous green eyes, almost luminescent in a face more lined by pain than by age. The Countess has a round hoop in her lap, a piece of intricate needlework. "My lady," says Celise. "Celise," says Regina, "I had wondered if you would quit my service. Please introduce us." Celise bows and introduces you. Regina inclines her head but makes no effort to rise. "What brings you to me today, my friend?" With many pauses to word her story as diplomatically as possible, Celise shares the same suspicions with Regina that she had shared with you. As she speaks, a rail-thin man in a ruffled tunic slips into the room to stand silently at Regina's side. "Yes," says Regina at length. "Timothy told me much of this the day you disappeared, was it, Timothy?" She offers one hand to the man in the ruffled shirt, who helps her to her feet with perfect form. "Yes, milady. I was not sure what to make of Miss Celise's suspicions, but I reported them dutifully." Regina crosses to her throne and sits with a sigh. She gestures to Timothy and points to a writing desk against the wall. "Timothy, the book in the drawer there." He goes and fetches a slim leather-bound volume. "This is Sonia's journal. I have not read it, There are things that a mother should not know about her daughter, I think. But you must do, my friends. I do not want to believe that my brother would stoop to so reprehensible a crime as kinslaying, but I will not risk my children on my hope that Kirik is still the honorable man who stood aside for me when our father named me heir over him. She presses the book into your hand. You gain Sonia's journal. Now, this is actually a thing. Right? Ugh. Here is Sonia's journal. Now, this is the daughter that was killed when she was thrown from a horse. Except she's supposed to be a really good rider, so it seems suspicious. Okay, and mark story point P8. Okay. Marked. Yeah, I know. It could be Triffid, that's true. So, please read it. Perhaps it contains some clue as to Sonia's fate, and perhaps you might prevent Rochelle and Philip from falling prey to a similar doom. She waves a hand, and Timothy rushes forward to shepherd you from the room. Her ladyship tires easily these days, he says. Thank you. We will speak again. Celise frowns as she walks you to the door. So Timothy isn't the traitor after all. Or perhaps he's covering. Or perhaps there is no traitor, just rotten luck. She shakes her hand and opens the door. Read that book and make it a point to get to know the locals. I will call upon you once again when you are needed. Okay, 2 time passes and the encounter is complete. So now, we have Sonia's journal, and now 8 time has passed on day 1. But before I get to day 1, we have Sonia's journal, which we can read at any time. So, we might as well read it and see what's up. Alright, here we go. Time to get ready. It's nothing like reading a child's journal, chat. Although she's not that much of a child, I suppose. Here we go. Sunday, the 1st. Planting, 1850-1851, Fairfax Manor. Celise gave me this book for New Year's Day and suggested that a young lady of my station should keep a journal. It seems unlikely that anyone will want to read my thoughts in days to come, but I suppose we'll give it a try. So a new year is begun. A new year is given to you. What will you do with it? Who said that to me? One of the priests at that school Mother sent me to in Highcrest, I think. So what will I do with it? Get Mother to let Rochelle take a knighthood. A new will. I guess it's a new mill. Settle the Long Creek dispute with the Belmonts. I think it's time to breed Appledash. I know there's catfolk in the forest. I'm going to find them. Oh, she liked catfolk. Well, now we have to get revenge for her. Read at least 13 new books, Celise would insist. Find a cure for Mother's illness. Interesting. Mother's illness, huh? Sky Day, 5, planting, 1851, Tree of Tales. I saw a catfolk woman in a red tunic run away from me. Okay, well, that wasn't Harriet, because we don't run from anybody. I don't want to scare them away entirely, so I didn't chase her for long. I've come to the tree to pray. I received a letter today from the physician in Greyhaven. He had nothing useful to say about Mother's illness. Mother insists that all will be well, of course, and that when her time comes she will die, just as anyone else must. But she has barely 50 years. She's too young, and I'm not ready to be countess. Alright, Rune Day, 21, planting 1851, Fairfax Manor. I am considering dangling Timothy out a window by his toes, if only we lived in a proper castle with a tall tower to do it from. The man spent nearly a candle harassing me about taking a husband. And what if I prefer a wife, Timothy? Did you consider that, I wonder? And producing an heir. I half wonder if he wanted the job himself. He's not wrong, of course, which is why I'm so angry with him. How dare he tell me true things I do not want to hear? Mother hasn't brought up the matter at all. She seems perfectly content for me to marry or not as suits me. Bless her for that. Water Day, 4, New Bloom, 1851, the Countess Inn. Yeah, exactly. I should visit with the villagers more often. I love my family, but they drive me crazy sometimes. Today I played a cutthroat game of cards with Ursula and Sapphire. Sapphire is the one who runs the inn. That's Miriam, the apothecary, the gnome apothecary's aunt. They're so polite to one another, I forget that they're technically rivals in business. They were certainly rivals today. It's good to learn from both these women. They see firsthand who comes into our village and have a better understanding of the flow of commerce through the county than even they know, I think. Also, I always eat very well when I visit. Okay. Sunday the 8th, New Bloom, 1851, Fairfax Manor. Galvin thinks he has found a likely mate for Appledash in the Cunningham stable. I'll have to see the beast myself, but I'm glad he's taken a keen interest. Tending to the bloodlines of our horses makes me think about the county. I wonder about our goats, if we're doing all we can to keep these herds healthy, if they could be more productive. I wonder about our crops. Are there better seeds we should find elsewhere? People seem so happy to just do as they have done in the past, but there may be a better way. We can breed our horses to be stronger. We can improve our county by bringing in new blood, or new ideas at least as well. I'm grateful that we have so many wanderer gnomes, orcs, and others in our villages, bringing their connections to the outside with them. Tulips blooming in the garden today. My heart is full. You know, I gotta say, all right, sleep well, Darth. I gotta say, so far, does this, I guess she's still a girl. I think she was a young woman yet. I don't believe. Does this girl strike you as someone who was kind of impulsive and like, I mean, she sounds to me like she'd probably be a pretty freaking good countess. I don't know. I think the mother is sus. It's something, I don't know. Something about the mother rubs me the wrong way. We'll see. Anyway, Noonday, Noonbloom 9, 1851, Fairfax Manor. Galvin is quite correct. The Cunningham stallion will do very well. Count Cunningham even turned down a stud fee. I think he's hopeful I might marry one of his sons. No thank you. Albert Cunningham seems less than thrilled with the entire affair, or possibly just with me. Fire Day, 17th New Bloom, 1851, Fairfax Manor. Philip and I spent today in the village. Philip set himself up on the edge of the green with his charcoals and the scraps of paper he keeps filching from Solis, and I visited with Marquez, the village clerk, to go over possible sites for a new mill. The old one is too far outside the village, I think, and time has not been kind to it. Marquez is entirely in favor of a new mill, but has a host of reasons not to situate it anywhere I choose. He wants it to go on his brother's farm, from what I can tell, which means Mother would have to buy that land back from him at a pretty price. I know the yeomanry are the backbone of the realm and all that, but at times I admit I wish we were back to the days when the nobles owned all the land. When I came back to check on Philip, he had that dwarf girl in his lap, doing her very best to draw an owl. Philip is such a sweet young man. Some days I wish he was going to inherit the county. He's certainly not going to be a knight like Rochelle. In the afternoon, I stopped by Fior Brightmalls to see how Rochelle's new sword is coming along. I'm no judge of weapons, but she showed me that the blade is finished, and now it just wants binding and mounting and all that. The blade looks lovely. Rochelle will be very pleased and surprised, I hope. Okay, so Rochelle is going to be a knight, and Philip is an artist. Those are the two other kids. Sky Day, 26 Noonbloom, 1851, Fairfax Manor. Notes to myself. If I'm right, Appledash should come into season in early Greentide. Make sure Galvin knows to send her to the Cunningham stable for studying. Rochelle's sword ready. How to wrap it. Name day in less than a week. Sapphire says her niece is a good apothecary, good enough to cure Mother. Ask Sapphire to send for her. I thought I had another note, but I forget what it was. Fire Day, 3 Greentide, 1851, Evermore. This is my first time coming out for the blessing of the flock without Mother. Everyone's doing their best to ignore it, but I can feel them wondering where she is. I want to cry, but a countess mustn't cry. I did my best. The sheep are as blessed as I know how to make them. I wish someone would bless me. I like this kid. Stone Day, 6 Greentide, 1851, Fairfax Manor. Rochelle loved her present. Name day went well. I've just heard there's a new healer in Highcrest impressing everyone with her skill. She uses some sort of magic. I'm leaving immediately. Sunday, 8 Greentide, 1851, Gold Sheaf Inn, Road to Highcrest. I've just realized that Appledash is in fact in her season, and I've ridden her straight away to the Cunningham stallion. Also, I'm regretting taking Deacon with me on this trip. Mother insisted I take a guard, but why did I choose the one who won't stop telling me all about his imaginary accomplishments? Just focus on the healer. This is all worth it if the healer is as good as they say. Okay, Noonday, 9 Greentide, 1851, Highcrest Temple of Light. The healer promised to come visit Dragonholt immediately. I didn't even get around to offering her money. I tithed it here at the temple instead. Even Deacon can't ruin this mood. Strange men stopped me on the street and asked my name, scar on his face. He seemed thoughtful when I left him there. That's not mysterious. Sky Day, 12, Greentide, 1851, the Tree of Tales. The healer spent an hour cloistered with Mother in the shrine. She came out and shook her head, then sent me in to speak to my mother. Mother explained that there is no healing what ails her. My time is coming, she said. Everyone dies, Sonia. So I will die younger than most, but still older than many, and I don't regret a single moment of my life that brought you and your sister and brother into this world. So Mother's at peace with her coming death, but I'm not, damn it, I don't want to be. This isn't fair. Something about this is not clicking with me. This whole, mess, I mean. Rune Day, 28 Greentide, 1851, Fairfax Manor. A strange letter arrived today. At first I thought it was a suitor because the writer said I was as beautiful as eventide forest. But the letter claims to be from my Uncle Kirik, who I've never met before in my life. My uncle suggests I not tell my mother that he's written to me because there's no love lost between them. I imagine not. I don't believe another mother's ever said 2 words about Kirik to me. I'm to write to him in Highcrest, and if I want to know more. I believe I shall do so straight away. Sky Day, 5 High Summer 1851, Fairfax Manor. Appledash is back in season, so I've just returned from the Cunningham stable riding a horse Galvin chose for me. A bit of a wild one, but I do like his spirit. And what should I find in my return but a letter from my uncle? But not a very nice letter. Kirik claims that Mother isn't the rightful Countess of Dragonholt. He is. According to him, Mother is his half-sister and bastard-born at that. So by the laws of the realm, Kirik should have inherited the county from my grandfather. Kirik says that he didn't want to press his claim by force and wage war against his own blood, so he went into exile when his sister stole his throne. But now that Mother is dying, he asked me to back his claim and step aside for him. This must be a pack of lies, and I must speak to Mother about this. I'm in no hurry to inherit the county, but I'm hardly going to place the lives of my people in the hands of a stranger. Rune Day 7, High Summer 1851, The Chatty Archer. Not sure how to feel. A little drunk. Helps Hunter is very handsome. So's his wife. Mother more or less confirmed Kirik's story. She is my grandfather's bastard daughter and Kirik's older sister. But she claims that Lord Holland named her as his heir because when the county needed saving, she saved it and Kirik did nothing. He abdicated his responsibilities, according to her. Kirik sees a county as a privilege, as something to own. But in truth, as a duty, a job that is yours. But in truth, it's a duty, a job that is yours for the rest of your life. And if you fail in that task, people suffer and even die. Or words like that. A little drunk. Mother said that if she thought I'd be a bad countess, she'd pass the title on to someone else. But apparently she's certain I'll be a good one. I'm not so sure. It would be easier to let Kirik take the throne and go run an inn somewhere. I think I'd like running an inn. I like working in the kitchens. Yeah, maybe. I don't get it. Water Day, 11 High Summer 1851, Fairfax Manor. I got into it with Celise today, talking about inheritance and lordship. If Mother was going to pass over me for inheritance if I were bad at the job, pass it to whom? Rochelle? Philip? Esther would make a fine ruler of Dragonholt, I think, but what if they were as bad as me? Pretend me. Maybe the best person for the job is someone the peasants choose themselves. One of the innkeepers or the more successful farmers. They're used to making lots of decisions and leading large groups of people. Celise said that what I was describing was called democracy, and it worked for some people in some parts of the world. But Mother couldn't just do that because her choice of heir would need the support of not just the people of the county, but also the nobles of the barony and the baroness herself. And that meant it had to be someone of noble blood with at least a nominal claim to the title, so one of her children, or Kirik. I talked the matter through with anyone who'd listened over the last few days. Timothy, Matilda, Galvin, Philip. Galvin thinks I should let Kirik have the place. I guess his father is one of Kirik's friends. Timothy reminded me that I should get married sooner rather than later. Matilda claimed that it was all too much for a simple serving girl like her, which is her way of saying she wasn't listening, and Philip made fun of me. I think he was trying to cheer me up. I don't know what to do, but I have to decide, and then I have to stick to it. Yeah, exactly. Maybe CQ. Sky Day 12, High Summer 1851, Fairfax Manor. I wrote Kirik a letter turning him down. Hopefully that's the last I'll hear concerning the matter. Going for a long ride later. The new horse is still wild, but I'm learning. Stone Day 20, High Summer 1851, Fairfax Manor. Kirik wrote me another letter. I think he was threatening me. I know Mother doesn't like asking men and women to fight and die for her, not after the Two Barons' War, but it's really time we mustered a few more guards. The county can levy quite a few good archers and spears in time of war, but that's no substitute for actual men-at-arms. And women-at-arms, thank you, Rochelle. Maybe we can attract a knight-errant or two, or create a knight household in Evensmoor or Karen's Cross. Sunday, 22nd, High Summer 1851, the library. Does our library have a name? The library? Dragonholt Library? I suppose it's the only public library in the county, so it doesn't precisely require one. I wrote to Kirik with yet another refusal. Then I found Celise and told her everything. She seemed concerned and said she had some friends she could ask for help. Appledash is with foals, so I'm stuck with this new horse for the foreseeable future. Galvin assures me that I'll be fine. So he's also a little sus. Sky Day, 26 High Summer 1851, Fairfax Manor. I need to take my mind off all this nonsense. Philip and I are going riding today in Eventide Forest. Maybe I'll find the mythical catfolk village, or maybe they really are just forest spirits. Timothy looked at me like I developed a bad smell when I mentioned my plans and asked if I'd like to take one of the young men from the Belmont or Cunningham families with me on one of these rides. What a petty little man. Galvin offered to saddle my horse for me today. How nice. Usually he insists we all do it ourselves because if you can't saddle a horse, you surely can't ride her. That's the last entry. And remember, she was thrown. What's up, Shadow? Good to see you, dude. I hope you're doing okay. She was thrown from the horse, remember? And she's supposed to be an excellent rider. And yet Galvin's the one who did the stuff with the horse. Galvin's the one who saddled the horse. I don't know. Unless all the evidence is pointing that way and it's meant to make us not think about it. Yeah, exactly, Triffid. It makes you wonder. Anyway, that's her journal. She obviously would have been a good countess. That's obvious. Interesting. Interesting. All right. In any case, it is the end of day 1. So we can always go back to that journal and read it whenever we want. You return to your room and turn in for the night, collapsing into sleep almost immediately. Your dreams are strange and unsettled, full of lurking threats and the shadow of wings falling across the land cast by a roaring fire. You wake in the middle of the night, cross to your window, and look out across the sleeping village by moonlight. Eventually, you sleep again and dream of an endless forest and a plaintive voice calling for you. Okay, you recover half of your maximum stamina. So that means that we're up to maximum. So half would mean 7 points total. 7 points we get added to what we have. So 7 plus 9, 16. So that means we're back up to our maximum. This chapter of the story ends here. When you're ready to begin the next chapter, read entry 3432. And it says in our sidebar, chapters and taking breaks, the end of each day marks the end of a chapter in the story. The end of a chapter is a great time to take a break. Might wish to stop playing for now, pick up from here at a later date. If so, record blah, 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 blah. Okay. All right. We're not going to do that because we have a little bit longer, I think, to play. So let me fire up this music again. Okay. So, interesting day 1 though, chat. I mean, that was a hell of a day 1. We got to Dragonholt Village. We traveled and saw a lot of these things, like a lot of these places, right? We ended up clearing out the mine. We got a strange mushroom. We got a war rune. We got a wooden trinket. We got a bunch of story progress. We got 5 combat training. 1 more combat training and we'll get another skill. So we've got that going on. We even got a physical training. We got some heroism in. So we had a productive day. We got very rich, that's true. We also got 270 gold, so we got some serious coin. Yes. So these are all things to think about. Okay. 3432. This is day 2. Okay. You wake the next morning a bit later than usual, greeted again by the smell of freshly baked bread and seasoned meats. As you dress yourself, you can hear Miriam's voice above the other patrons coming from the common room. You step out of your room and head down to breakfast. Miriam, Braxton, and Sapphire are sitting together as usual, and the younger gnome waves you over. You greet them and take your seat, serving yourself a plate of delicious-looking food. Braxton has apparently asked Sapphire about the Great Oak in Eventide Forest. "Oh, you must be talking about the Tree of Tales," answers Sapphire. "That old oak has been there for centuries, according to the stories. The people of Dragonholt say that a benevolent spirit lives in the tree." Sapphire stops to take a drink of her tea before continuing. "There's a custom in Dragonholt to tell your tales to the spirit, whether spoken or written. They say you will be blessed with good fortune if the spirit is moved by your story. Some of the villagers have taken to leaving gifts for the spirit as well, in hopes of gaining its admiration, I suppose." "Fascinating," says Braxton. Miriam frantically scribbles something on a piece of parchment and pockets it. When Braxton looks at her curiously, Miriam says, "Just making a note to myself." Braxton raises an eyebrow and an almost imperceptible grin crosses Sapphire's lips. All right, so here are our options. We can ask Miriam and Braxton about their plans for the day. We can ask if there are any special events coming up. We can finish our breakfast and prepare for the day ahead. Or we can ask Sapphire about the wooden trinket we found. It requires that we have the wooden trinket, and we do have it. So we could ask Sapphire about the trinket. We could ask Miriam and Braxton about their plans. We could ask if there are special events coming up, or we could finish our breakfast and prepare for the day ahead. What should we do, chat? What do you think? What should we do? Trinket. Doing pretty well, Shattered. I hope you're doing okay, man, as well. And that everything is good. Got home from your parents. Cool, cool. Alright, what do you think, chat? Do we ask Miriam and Braxton about their plans for the day? Do we ask Sapphire about the wooden trinket? Do we ask if there are special events coming up, or do we finish our breakfast? So, Miriam and Braxton, ask Sapphire about the wooden trinket, ask if there are special events, or finish your breakfast and prepare for the day ahead. Because we do have this wooden trinket, so... Busy. Well, yeah. I hear that. Today was actually a busy streaming day. Yesterday was a big revision day. Tomorrow is going to be a combination revision day and also dealing with taking care of my son. So I got that going on tomorrow. Thursday is going to be another big revision day. Plus, I've got some house stuff that I'm going to be doing on Thursday. Friday is going to be... also, I'm homeschooling my daughter tomorrow for English. Friday is history homeschooling, followed by... our adventure that I always have with her, followed by Espergenesis that night. And then Saturday is revisions, a few revisions, spending a lot of time with the family, and then Palace of the Red Pasha that night. And then Sunday, all day, is trying to finish my revisions, which I should be done with, and sending out emails for ARFCon. So talking to the companies, because it'll be about a month out, and that's usually when I want to contact the companies. So I'll be doing that on Sunday. And then, yeah. And that's what we're looking at. Okay, so we got trinket, finish breakfast, and then trinket. Okay, so trinket, finish breakfast, trinket. All right, so right now we're looking at trinket. Going once, going twice. Trinket. All right. Okay. You produce a small bundle of cloth and unwrap it, revealing the wooden trinket you found at the Tree of Tales. Oh my, breathed Sapphire. May I? You nod, and she carefully lifts the trinket, examining the craftsmanship. She turns it over in her hand and giggles when she sees the letters etched into the wood. As I thought, she says as she returned the trinket. This is most certainly carved by Theodore. Have you met him? He's a very kind, elderly human man. Oh, that's the guy who was whittling at the Archer. Remember the guy who was telling us all the adventures? The guy called him Theodore. That's who that was. He's lived in the village his whole life. Theo opened the woodworking shop in the market when he was a young man, but he's been retired for a while now. He comes by the Swan for breakfast or lunch on occasion, but he spends most of his time at the Chatty Archer or in the market. Even after retiring, he's still whittling every day. Whittle every day. The bell signals someone entering the Swan, and Sapphire stands. I'm sure Theo will be happy to see that particular piece again, she says, before running off to greet the new patron. You return to your room to retrieve what you'll need for the day ahead. Okay, so at some point, now it's going to be closed during the day, but at some point at night, we need to try to remember to go back to the Chatty Archer so we can give Theo his wooden trinket back. We need to remember to do that. Okay, so actually, let me write that down. Wooden trinket is Theo's. He is at Chatty Archer or Market Okay. Whittle while you work. La 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 la. Cut. Okay. Alright, now if story point V6 is marked, and it is marked, so that means this encounter is complete. Alright, chat, so now we have to decide what we're going to do. So it's morning. So, Chatty Archer is going to be closed. We have gone to the Fairfax Manor once, although we haven't gone by ourselves. We've got the Eastern Road. We're at the Swan right now. We have not been to the Countess Inn. We haven't been to the Northern Road. I don't know where that leads. We haven't been to the Drunken Hog. We still have not been to the Apothecary Shop. We've got the Village Green we haven't been to. We haven't been to the Shrine yet. I know that in the journal she made reference to the library. So, I mean, the library we haven't visited. We haven't visited the dragon statues yet. We haven't been to the orchard. So these are all things that we could probably do during the day. And so I'm going to... Okay, there we go. So get in your votes, chat. Where should we go? It's morning, day 2. No, it's morning. Morning of day 2, Mrs. Dunsel. We woke up and had our breakfast. It's morning, day 2. It sure is, Shadowed. It sure is. It's a good thing, actually, that we have that ArvBot Plus, which is done by Effect Life, has the option to create more options, or doing something like this would be pretty crazy. But I love this because it really is sort of like a hub system. You know, I mean, that really is what it is. And we already did this mini quest yesterday where we did the thing with the sliver of silver or whatever, so... Done by who? What? What? Eh? Oh, that's true. I forgot about that. I forgot about that, chat. We could also eat this strange mushroom. I forgot about that. So if you want, you can just tell me that in chat. We got this strange mushroom. It's a terribly pungent scent. So instead of choosing a location, we could eat this strange mushroom. I'm just saying, we, you know... We could ask the apothecary what it is. That's true. We could go to the apothecary and ask the apothecary, which might be safer than just eating it. So we've also got that. Yes. And we have this war rune. Maybe we can get lucky and we can convince somebody to craft it into a weapon or armor. I don't know. Alright, so Rock God wants us to eat it, so I will just keep that in mind. So far, we've got 5 votes for the apothecary shop and 1 vote for the library. Oh, we had some people who were just like, hey, screw the apothecary, eat the mushroom. Alright, we have 5 votes for apothecary, 1 vote for library, and 1 vote for eating the completely unverified mushroom. So I'm going to last call this. All right, there it is. So we're going to the apothecary. All right, our first time going to this place. Okay, the apothecary shop is a 2-story building featuring a large storefront and multiple back rooms. A show window fills nearly the entire front wall of the building, looking out toward the village green. If 5 or less time has passed today. Okay, it has. No time has passed so far. So, apothecary shop day 1. The walls of the apothecary shop are darkened by soot and burnt wood. The front door and its frame are splintered as if the door had been blown off its frame by an explosion. Several boards fastened in a sheet are nailed over what was once a large show window. Okay, if 0 time has passed today, it has. 0 time has passed today, so. The front door is crossed by several boards that are nailed into the wall on either side. There doesn't appear to be a way to access the building's interior from the main street. You hear someone mumbling and glance down the narrow alley between the shop and the next building over. Miriam is standing in the alley, hands cupped over her eyes as she looks into the building through a dusty window. She's mumbling to herself too softly for you to understand what she's saying. So we can either say, "Hey Miriam, what are you doing?" Or we could pretend we don't notice, which means the encounter is complete. So, rock god. So, what do you think, chat? Do we say, "Hey Miriam, what are you doing?" Or do you pretend we don't notice, in which case that's the end of the encounter? I say, "Hey, what's going on?" And I'm looking around this apothecary, and I see this gnome, and she's really scary, and I say, "Hey, what's going on?" And I say, "Miriam, Miriam." I said, hey, what's going on? What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's... And then, hey, girl. Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy. But here's this mushroom. Don't call me maybe. All right. Hey, Miriam, what are you doing? All right. Sounds like chat is all on board. Oh, man. When you came into my life, I ate this so bad. I ate this so bad. This mushroom so bad. Okay. Oh, says Miriam, stepping away from the building and whirling to face you. Whew! Snuck up on me there. She turns back and peers through the window again. I was just taking a look at the building, seeing how bad the damage is before I go sign the papers and hand over my gold. Miriam walks down the alley toward the back. I bet the back door is unlocked. Let's go see. The back door is boarded shut, but there's a gap in the boards large enough for Miriam to squeeze through. Oh, I'm glad I wasn't here for this, she says, her voice sounding muffled from within the building. Okay, are we going to follow Miriam inside or leave her to her business? Nah, she's an apothecary, a gnome, you know. So do we follow her inside or do we leave her to her business, in which case the encounter is complete? Are we following her inside? Go inside. Follow. Yes, the apothecarium had a fire. Oh, actually, you know what? Oh, shoot. You know what? I read... Darn it, chat. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I completely read the wrong entry because I forgot that assuming that it's open, you're supposed to go to day 2, not day 1. I am sorry. I beg your pardon. I'm really sorry. It's supposed to be day 2. My bad. Rewind. So we don't actually find her because if we had gone to find her day 1, this is what she would have been doing. But by the time we get to day 2, she's already opened up the shop. So my bad. I apologize. Day 2. I was confused. I beg your pardon. Now, in day 2, the walls of the apothecary shop are still darkened by soot and burnt wood, but you see the front door and its frame have been replaced. The boards that previously covered the front window have been replaced by a tarp. Okay, my bad. So, I apologize unreservedly. I screwed that up. My bad. My bad. Record scratch. Yeah, exactly. Okay, you hear Miriam's alto and Braxton's tenor voice talking as you approach and find them in the front room tearing up damaged and burned floorboards. Hello, calls Miriam when she sees you. I appear to have bought myself an unending job, which helps explain why the place was so cheap. Not unending, says Braxton. Why, we're done with the back room already. We're done with the tear down on the back room, clarifies Miriam. We still need to lay new floors and panel the walls, but that can wait. The front room is what the customers will see. She stands in the middle of the room looking out. Actually, most of this floor can stay. I think we'll finish this up in the morning. We can start laying new floor in the afternoon. Okay, so do we offer to help with the renovations, or do we leave Miriam and Braxton to their work? Braxton was always the bodyguard of Miriam, I don't know if they're romantically involved or if they're just really good friends, but Braxton seems to really like Miriam, so yeah. Hey, Rogan, what's up? So do we offer to help with the renovations, chat, or do we leave them to their work? And this is day 2 content, and I'm sorry that I messed that up before. And also, I don't think so, Rogan. I don't think it would be worth it if it was cloth map. I mean, you know, that's special edition stuff, right? Like, to me, you make a game that's worth the content of what it is, and then you charge like $80, and then you end up with a cloth map. It's very much like what Baldur's Gate would have done, you know, so... Mrs. Dunsel's like, I'm outie. Okay, so do we leave, chat, or do we offer to help with the renovations? Craigery says offer to help. Mrs. Dunsel says, I'm out. I'm outie 5,000. Trivet says help. Blackberry says help. Okay, so we got help, 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 and leave. All right, going once, going twice. Help. All right. Offer to help with the renovations. Okay. Maybe we'll get some physical benefit out of it, too. We'll get some physical training or something. Miriam seems uncertain she wants to accept your help at first. Oh, no, I mean, I can't pay you. You're not paying me either, says Braxton, sitting with her legs dangling between floor joints. Consider the possibility that we're doing this because we like you. You set about tearing up floorboards and removing wall paneling with Braxton, while Miriam cleans trash and debris from the corners, meanwhile swapping stories of your various adventures. Mark 1 progress in physical training. I knew it. You lose 2 stamina. That's not what I was hoping for. Time passes. That's not surprising. I don't think we have a story to top your exploits in Netacall, says Braxton. Sure we do, says Miriam. You remember that business with the circus fair? Miriam, Braxton attempts to interrupt. And the clown? And the bear? And the Naga tamer? Continues Miriam excitedly. We promised the monkey we wouldn't talk about it, says Braxton in a hushed but stern tone. Yeah, exactly, Gregory. Oh, right, says Miriam. Never mind. No one stole anyone's pearls. She returns to cleaning, humming as she sweeps. Anyway, I think he was an ape. If 2 or more time has passed, it is not. So... Okay. As you remove the last of the debris from the front room, Miriam is chattering excitedly about Braxton, who is doing her best not to look at anyone and blushing furiously. You should have seen her! 3 of those wolves circling around us, but she just stands her ground, looks the biggest wolf in the eye, and growls at it. I nearly jumped out of my skin. Miriam laughs, leaning on Braxton's shoulder, who was standing in the hole left by torn-up boards. Of course, the wolf knew better than to mess with my Braxton, and the whole pack of them ran away. Your Braxton? Asked Braxton. What was that? Says Miriam, jumping away as if burned. Did someone say something? Is Sapphire calling? Braxton smiles and climbs up to the floor. See, we got this romance going on. See? Braxton smiles, climbs up to the floor. Time passes. All right, so now we're 2 in. Read entry 3253. Okay. I think we're ready to start laying new floor, says Braxton, wiping her hands clean on a rag. After lunch, says Miriam. You'll like it, I promise. Miriam vanishes into the back room and returns with an enormous basket covered with a red blanket. Is that all for me? Asked Braxton with a laugh. That's the idea, says Miriam. Shall we? Okay, chat, so we can either say, where are we going for lunch? See you back here after lunch. Or see you later, which means the encounter's complete. So we either say, where are you going for lunch? Or see you back here after lunch. Or see you later, but if we do that last one, that's the end of the encounter. So what do you think? Where are you going for lunch? After lunch? Or see you later, which would close the encounter? Move this down a little bit. I actually think that the camera is staying in place a little bit now, which is nice. That's a nice change. Maybe we can recover that stamina. Where do you go now? Okay, so after lunch, where are you going? Where are you going? After lunch. So I have 2 after lunches. Triffid testing my vocab. And Blackberry Bear is saying, where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going? Can you take me with you? For my hands are cold and need warmth. Where are you going? And it's from Godspell. We're going. We're going. Okay. Looks like we're going with, where are you going? Or optionally, where do you go now? Where will we go? Oh, where will you go now? Now. Sweet gnome of mine. Okay, I still think that's a weird ending to that song, by the way. I still never understood that ending. Because everything else is just like, her hair reminds me of a warm, safe place. You know, that whole thing. And it's all like, wow, it's all major key. And then all of a sudden it goes to, where do we go now? It's super freaky. Yeah. Anyway. All right, where are you going for lunch? Mariam was going to take me for a picnic at the Willow Grove, says Braxton, pausing in the doorway. It's said to be a lovely spot. It's very nice, said Mariam. Let's go. Would you care to join us? Asked Braxton, as Mariam behind her stares at you in mute horror. Yes, says Mariam flatly. Please join us. That would be lovely. She continues in a painfully monotone voice. This encounter is complete. Oh no, we just third-wheeled it. We're just like, hey, where are you guys going? Where are you folks going? Where's it happening? Oh, man. Yep. We third-wheeled it, chat. We third-wheeled it. All right. Good grief. Anyway. Okay, so that was a bust in terms of finding anything out about the mushroom. We've used up 2 time. So, where to next? So we still have the dragon statues. We have the library. The village hall. I don't think we've actually been there yet. The guard station we've been to, and we could go back, I guess. The smithy, we have a lot of money. I don't know, we could go back again. Market Street, market's not open yet, so that doesn't make a lot of sense. It's going to be 2 more days, I think. The village green, we haven't been to. The shrine, we haven't been to either. Willow Grove, we went to just when we were going south. I mean, I guess we could go back, but... Drunken Hog, we haven't been to. I'm guessing that's a tavern, but I don't know. We just went to the apothecary shop. We know what's at the bakery. I mean, I don't know. We could go back there, theoretically. Chatty Archer isn't open yet. Northern Road leads out of town. So I don't know. Countess Inn, we haven't been to. Fairfax Manor, we could go back to. Eastern Road also leads out of town. The Swan is where we started from originally, and then we haven't been to the Orchard. So one of those places sounds good. The smithy hinted about a rune. Well, the rune that we had here said something like that. Yeah, we could use this and like infuse it into our weapon. So we could go to the smithy to do that also. So we've got that. We could also train, because our combat training, we could go back to the guard place and we could like fix up our combat training so that we pick this up, and then we could use our experience, spend an experience to get dueling or to get military skill. We could do that. Or we could, you know, go and get some info at the library, which is what we had thought about doing before. We could go up to the Orchard, where we haven't been at all yet. So, what's up, Dunsel? Yeah, so we got a lot of options. Man, I'm telling you right now, as a kid, I would have gotten absolutely lost in this. This to me would have been like super slick. Total like Tunnels and Trolls solo module type stuff. Like, I would have loved this. Oh, finished playing D&D, so tired. Nice, nice. Yeah, we need to give Harriet even more. We are down 2 stamina, that's true. But only 2. I mean, we're not down a ton, but yes, we are down 2. Could always eat this strange mushroom. I gotta remember to put that on the list. I keep forgetting to do that. I gotta remember next time to put the strange mushroom on the list. Not the mushroom! Maybe. I mean, we thought we were going to get a lead on the mushroom by going to the apothecary, and then all we ended up doing was, you know, helping renovate a shop and third-wheeling, you know, Braxton and Merriam. Maybe the library's got stuff. I mean, Sonia in her journal, Sonia mentioned about, like, the library, about whether it should have a different name for what that's worth. But that, I mean, that she didn't say, like, oh, my favorite place is the library and I keep all my secrets there. She didn't say that, so I don't know. I'll last call this. Oh, me too, Craigery. I have a lot of the Lone Wolf books. We did for a while a whole series of Lone Wolf game books because they have a really good program called Seventh Sense that actually lets you play through a lot of them and automates a lot of the books. Really, really cool stuff. And We also, of course, played Lone Wolf, the originally Android game, and that was actually a lot of fun too. I actually have over there, I would love to play it sometime. I have over there the Lone Wolf role-playing game, tabletop role-playing game, which is put out by Cubicle 7, I think still does that. So I would love to do that. And yeah, I met Joe Deaver once, and I tried to get him on the channel actually, it was a few years ago at Gen Con, and I met him, and then I tried to reach out to him, and he was like, yeah, I'm just too busy doing a bunch of stuff. And then, you know, he passed away, I think 6 months later, something like that. So yes, very much so, Krager, yeah. All right, here we go. Library it is. Yeah, he did a good job with that stuff. That was good. The Lone Wolf stuff was good work. Okay, library. The library is here. Library is there. And 2480 is what we're looking at. Okay. The village library is large for a village of the size of Dragonholt. It features an antechamber, a main room with rows of bookshelves, and a few side rooms. On most days, one of the side rooms is used as a classroom for the village youths. The Utes. If 4 or less time has passed today, they're not even open into the evening. Yes, 4 or less time has passed, so we can read entry 2505. The library's main hall features a tall writing desk underneath a window set in the ceiling and 4 walls covered in shelves full of books. Perched atop a stool at the writing desk is a gray-robed, gray-haired human woman spattered with ink, her quill scritching as she carefully copies out another letter. Okay, if it's day 1 and story point V6 is not marked, first of all, V6 is marked, but also it's not day 1. It's not day 6, it's not day 7, it is day 2. So, 2798. Okay. The librarian glances at you, then returns her attention to the page. A gray tabby cat drops down from a nearby bookshelf, pauses a moment to stretch, then brushes against your leg. Okay, so we could spend some time doing research or studying. We could ask if there's any work that can be done. We could donate our collected books to the library if K1 is marked. It's not. And B7 is not marked. Yeah, so we can't do that one. Or leave the library. So, spend some time doing... We can spend some time doing research or studying. We can ask if there's any work that can be done. Or we can leave and that closes the encounter. What do you want to do? Do you want to spend some time doing research or studying? Do you want to ask if there's work to be done? Or do you want to leave the library? Okay, so we have ask, research, ask. Data mining. So we're going to ask if there is work. Actually, no, I'm sorry. That's not what data mining means. Spend time doing research. So we have 2 for research, 2 ask for work. 3 for research, 2 ask for work. Three for research, 2 ask for work. All right, going once, going twice, and let's do it. So, spend some time doing research. All right. You ask the librarian if you can do some research and read some interesting books in her collection. The library is provided by the Countess for the benefit of all residents of Dragonholt, she says as she sprinkles some drying resin on her latest page. You're free to read any of the books you wish as long as you don't damage them or remove them from the library. I can direct you to a suitable volume if you have any particular topic of interest. Okay, we could study a topic at random. We could research the history of Dragonholt. We could study magic and runebound shards. Or, let me see if B3 or B5 is marked. B5 is marked. Or we could research the rumored crypt to the north, because we found out that there was this crypt to the north. So we could study a topic at random, research the history of Dragonholt, study magic and runebound shards, or research the rumored crypt to the north. What do you think? Mrs. Dunsel says magic. Okay. It's magic. What you got up your sleeve is magic. And harmony is magic. Okay, magic, magic, magic. Oh, 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 it's magic. You know. Don't believe that it's so. Abra, abracadabra, do-do-do. I wanna reach out and grab you, do-do. Abra, abracadabra, do-do-do. Do-do-do, abracadabra. The chronically underrated Steve Miller. Not the horrific immigration, bigoted guy who should be in jail and guilty of war crimes. Not that Steve Miller. The other Steve Miller, the Steve Miller Band Steve Miller. Okay, magic, 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 magic. All right, looks like we're going for magic. Okay. You start reading about runic magic, beginning with a rather poetic text titled A Runebound Age, and continuing into an ancient dust-clad book called The Final Charge of Timorin Locander. Both texts agree that runebound shards are places of crystallized magic created using an art now lost. The shard's magic is lent focus. Thank you for the follow. Adjudicator, I think is what that is. Thank you for the follow, Adjudicator. Thank you. Yes. So, the shard's magic is lent focus and direction by the mystic runes carved into their surfaces. Final Charge, however, claims their existence is due to great deeds of darkness and evil, making reference to something called the Night of Betrayal, and the ultimately failed efforts to keep the shards secret from the world. The book argues that the shards, both runebound and unbound, should be destroyed before the enemy acquires them. Quick note, again, this is set in the same world that the runebound games are, so it's interesting that they're using that example. In contrast, A Runebound Age makes no mentions of any of this, and the author seems almost wistful in her longing for more magic and the great works of ancient masters whose secrets might someday be rediscovered to the betterment of all. Okay, Mark 1 progress and academic study. Alright, well, when we get to 6, then we could use experience and get alchemy, arcana, history, reasoning, runes, and I think we already have survival. Yeah, we already have survival. We could get one of those other ones if we did academic study. Time passes, so we're now into the afternoon, but it says we could extend our study session as long as 7 or less time has passed. So we could extend our study session if you want, chat, or leave the library. Do you want to extend the study session or leave the library? I mean, it depends on what you mean. We renovated some, we renovated a store. We third-wheeled it with Miriam and Braxton, and we, we're reading about runic magic. Extend, 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 leave. Okay, so we have 3 extends, 1 leave. Leave, do 5 push-ups, come back. Now it's productive. Pulls out sleeping bag. I'm gonna guess that's an extend. That's what that sounds like to me, Dunsel. All right, looks like we're going to extend our study. Right. 8165. Tucked behind a number of other books, you find an ancient tome bound in what seems to be dragon's hide, its cover chased with gold and set with small gems. Happily, it is illuminated, and despite its great length, uses a variety of diagrams and illustrations to help break up the dense, cramped text. The book, whose title is Alto Magica Imperial, is written mostly in an ancient language, but between many pages are tucked loose sheets of notes and annotations written in a modern tongue. Apparently, some past sage wanted to include notes, but was reluctant to mar the beautiful manuscript with his or her own hand. The notes refer to something called the Verto Magica, and suggest that it is the source of all change and transmutation, and e'en the inexorable march of time's swift arrow, and yea, the turning of the seasons e'en so. The final note is simply, what did Timorin know? So, mark another progress in academic study. Time passes. And again, chat, 7 or less times, so we could study another topic, or we could leave. We could study another topic. I have slept in a library once by accident. Well, napped in a library when I was a kid. The Yale Rare Books Library, when I was down with my dad and he was doing a National Endowment for the Humanities Scholarship. And for anyone who's ever been to that library, the walls are opaque, but they do allow light. So they're marble, but they allow light through, or like at least faintly. So you can see the light outside. And I remember thinking how cool it was. And I remember being a kid, and I must have been, 8 years old maybe. And I remember 7. And I remember being there in a chair, looking at this big, silent, very quiet, building where you're like, ooh. And sitting in this very comfortable chair and falling asleep. And I remember that my father had bought me a stuffed animal, and it was a purple pterodactyl. And I remember I called it Terry Pterodactyl, really original. And I remember falling asleep with Terry Pterodactyl in a chair in the Yale Rare Books Library when he was doing work. A very interesting memory that just happens to come to me. Oh yeah, Dunsel? Okay, so leave, study. So are we going to study a little more? Terry Pterodactyl. I think, we're trying to also gather some information, CQ, about, who might be trying to target Countess Fairfax for assassination. So we're also trying to get a sense of that, I think, at the same time. So there's that, too. So, anyway. Blackberry Bear says study. Craigery says leave. CQ says study. Arnon. Yeah. If we're talking naps, yeah, of course. I fell asleep doing that. It's just so strange to me, though. When I was doing my original work on my dissertation, which would eventually become my academic book, which was The Problem in the Middle Liminal Space and the Court Mask. When I was first doing that, I was doing it I was at Brandeis during 1997. So, I was writing that basically in 2000, 2001. So I was still largely using the stacks at Brandeis, the physical library. And I was down there and exploring different things, right? That's how I did almost all of my papers, all of my essays, all of my journal, journal entries, journal essays, book chapters, and so on was done that way. And then, fast forward to 2009, I actually published the book, 2007, I beg your pardon, with Clemson. And then 2 years ago, 2019, the second edition of that book comes out. When I was doing the updated research for it, for the second edition, basically so I could do a whole new introduction and everything, I did everything exclusively online. I think maybe I used 1 or 2 physical books. Everything else was stuff that I found digitally from stuff online. Just a big, big change. Okay. So it looks like we're studying, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. So we will study another topic. Okay. You find a volume titled A History of Dragonholt and In Foundation in the Wake of the Dragon Wars After the Fall of Margath. You feel as if just reading that entire title has taught you something useful, but you crack the book open and begin to read. Although the language is rather dry and archaic, the story describes a pivotal battle in the Dragon Wars when Dragon Lord Varanix was defeated by Sharina, the Dragon Rex. According to the author, this represented the first intervention by a dragon on the side of the Free Peoples, and the first dragon versus dragon battle of the Dragon Wars. A new community of refugees and newly liberated people formed on the site of Varanix's defeat, and the settlement became known as Dragonholt because the people believed they lived under the protection of Sharina. The author never does manage to spell her name the same way twice in a row. When the rule of the Council of Barons was restored, Dragonholt was created as a county, and Sir Kirik the Just was named as the first Count of Dragonholt. No explanation is offered as to the change in name. Okay, mark 1 progress in academic studies. So we're up to 3, halfway there. Time passes, so we're now into the evening. But it is not yet 7 or less time, chat, so we could extend our study session again. So do we extend our study session again, or do we leave? Yeah, or I was thinking Sharona, Commander Dunsel. My Sharina. My Sharina. My. Woo. My Sharina. Okay, so what's it going to be, chat? Do we extend our study again? Maybe we just say that like day 2 is just we hung out in the library, and we like learned as much as we could, and then that's fine. That's fine. We're gathering info, Snuggles further into the bedroll. Poor Craigery. Poor Craigery's like, leave. We should leave. We should go now. Everyone's like, no, let's stay. We should go. We should leave. We should get out of... Hopefully we can learn about the ruins. Okay, so we have got... Extend. 4 extend. We've got 2 leave. 4 extend, 2 leave. 4 extend, 3 leave. Going once. 4 extend, 3 leave. Going twice. Bad things happen in libraries at night, and I'm totally here for it. All right. So there we go. We are going to extend. Probably, I'm guessing this is the last time, because it sounds like chat is starting to get a little stir crazy. So this will be the last time, is my guess. I don't know. Not well. It doesn't say she's restless. It says she's impulsive. So it could fit. So, okay. Placed on its own stand is a book bound in red leather, its cover marked with a silver dragon and a black iron dragon circling each other, clearly a version of the noble crest of the Lords of Dragonholt. Within it, you find a formal history of Lady Regina's family stretching back many generations. This actually might be useful because this might give us some info about Lady Fairfax. The back third or so of the book is blank, but the last few entries detail the reign of Regina's father, Lord Holland, and the beginning of Regina's reign as Countess. Although the author states that Lord Holland was a good ruler and beloved by his subjects, it tells of great struggle in the latter part of his reign. The spirits became angry when a dragon burned part of Eventide Forest, and they punished the county of Dragonholt with a great drought and all manner of misfortune. Monsters roamed unchecked, and the Count of Dragonholt despaired, until his bastard daughter Regina defeated the dragon and saved everyone with a great feat of magic. Count Holland named Regina his heir in defiance of custom. The section ends with a note that Countess Regina, in one of her first acts, established a public library in the village, moving the bulk of the family's private collection there. The only mention you can find of Count Holland's other child, his true-born son Kirik, is the fact of his birth and the death of his mother in the process. Oh, so his mother died giving birth to him, and he didn't do anything. Okay, so it says mark story point Y3. And she did some kind of magic to get rid of a dragon, so that's useful. Mark 1 progress in academic study. We're up to 4 there. Time passes. So it's evening. All right, now, so we still have a shot. We could still extend, so we could study another topic, chat, or we could leave. So what do you think? Do we extend, or do we leave? Study, leave. 1 study, 2 leave. 3 leave, 4 leave. Yeah, I had a feeling chat was going to be like, all right, listen. I'll tell you one thing. Don't forget, chat. When we leave here, we also need to try to go to the whatchamacallit, the Chatty Archer, and give Theo his wooden trinket. Remember? So we have 1 study, 4 leave. All right. And of course, there's also that mushroom that we haven't eaten yet. I've really got to put that into the list. Going once to leave. Going twice to leave. Okay. So we are going to leave. The encounter is complete. All right. So, chat, it is now 6 time has passed, so we're now heading into nighttime. So, are we going to head back to the Chatty Archer? Let me actually add... Let me go to the keyboard. I'm going to add one more option. All right, what's it going to be, chat? So, it's late, which means that, you know, it's going to be taverns now, right? Like, the bakery's going to be closed. The market was already closed. Smithy's going to be closed. The village hall will probably be closed. The library, obviously, is, you know, we left it. Shrine may be closed. The orchard will probably be closed. The Drunken Hog we haven't still been to. That's possible. The Countess Inn is still possible. We could just go back to the Swan, which is where we started from. Fairfax Manor is probably not going to be open to visitors at this point. So, you know, we have some options. We could go to that crypt in the middle of the night. I'm sure that's fine. But again, like, the Chatty Archer is where supposedly Theo is going to be found if we want to take care of this trinket thing. So we got that too. Yeah, the wood. If we're going to give the wooden trinket back, that would be at the Chatty Archer, not the Drunken Hog. If that's what we want to do, you know. That old guy seems a bit dull. Well, yeah, like, I mean... yeah, I'm not... I mean, who knows? Maybe he's like, that's wonderful. Here, let me tell you who actually is the bad person who's trying to kill the Countess. You know, we can short-circuit all this, you know. We can get into a brawl at the Hog. Probably. With the Drunken Hog. That's true. Probably. And okay, Chatty Archer it is. So that's 6,500. 6,500. Okay. So, Chatty Archer, we already talked about a maple tree outside this rustic lodge-style tavern. Arrows are stuck within it. Others point down in the earth. Tavern's pointed polished pine wood door. Strung bow hangs over the door, nestled on the awning, etc., etc. Okay. If 4 more times pass today, yes, then it corresponds to the current day. So it is day 2. So, a small group of women passes a horn of ale around as they throw darts at a wooden board. Occasionally, they burst out into peals of laughter for no obvious reason. An elderly human man sits at the bar whittling as flakes of wood float to land on his legs and the floor beneath him. Ha-ha! He's there. Okay. So, this is not our first time here, so let's go to 6232. Okay. 6232. Hunter nods at you as you enter, then goes back to cleaning his bar. Theodora leans back and places his knife flat on the counter and sighs. You know, that reminds me of a story. Okay, we can listen to Theodora's story, we can order something to eat, which costs 5 gold, or we could leave the Chatty Archer. Now, I will warn you all that technically, if we're going to give it back to him, I bet we have to listen to his story. So we may have to do that first. So we're going to listen to his story, order something to eat, which we probably can do after we listen to his story, I think. Or do we leave the Chatty Archer? Yeah, I know. I already saw Dunsel, like, gearing up to be like, get the fuck... But I'm guessing that we've got to listen to him if we're going to give this back. That's my guess. Maybe he'll give us a cinnamon roll, Mrs. Dunsel. Maybe he gives us a cinnamon roll. Think of it that way. Maybe he's like, you know what? You did such a good job. Have a cinnamon roll. You brought me this thing. Have a cinnamon roll. Stay a while and listen. I've spent more exciting days at the DMV. Look, dude, I was just at the DMV a couple days ago, all right? And I'll tell you right now, last week, that was not exciting. There was nothing exciting about that. That thing was there for 2 hours. And the opening of it was fine. And then it was like, I was there for like 45 minutes waiting for no reason. And then they're like, okay. So, you know. No, not with raisins. If he did that, then he'd be a bad person. Okay, I'm assuming he's a good person. Stay a while and listen. Cinnamon bun with raisins. You're just mad at him because he's not letting you eat, Mrs. Dunsel. All right, that's why you're mad. You're just bigoted against his lack of food interest. You're like, look, I don't care about your damn wood. I don't care about whittling. Get the food in my belly. We've had a hard day of renovating in the morning and reading in a library. You know, time is money. Sure, he was the assassin ever since he tried to poison us with raisins. Good point. It's a good point. Don't judge people by their desiccated fruit. By their aged grapes. It's true. All right, so it looks like we're going to listen to him. All right, read entry 5534. When I was a young lad, says Theodore, I used to spend hours exploring Eventide Forest. The forest was not so dangerous then as it is now, although more dangerous than I knew then. Now the Tree of... Actually, that's not the right voice. His voice was... The Tree of Tales was where I returned again and again. I always felt at peace there, knowing that so many generations of my people have been coming and telling their stories to the tree. I told my share too, never you doubt it. That's true. Look at this trinket. Take this trinket. Take this trinket. Take it. The old man rubs his chin, scratching at the gray stubble there. One time I got powerful hungry in the woods, so I thought I'd best rustle up some food. Now there's plenty to be had if you know what to look for, and so I soon enough found a stand of blackberries that I thought would suit me just fine. But I suppose someone else had the same idea, since as soon as I started picking berries, I heard a mighty howling and a yowling, and the whole thicket shook. I fell back just as a great enormous cat with growing green eyes burst out to land on me. The creature bounded off just as quickly, but I'd swear I saw an amber necklace and a silver chain hung around its neck. I love that he's telling this story to a catfolk, and we're like... Fascinating. That's Theodore shakes his head and picks his knife back up. Well, that reminds me of a story. Okay, it's day 2, so we read 32:31. Theodore goes off on a long and winding story about his youth playing in the village and on the edge of Eventide Forest. The mill pond there, where the river flows out of the forest, was where we used to spend most of our time. We would catch frogs and then hide them where the girls would find them, just to watch them shriek. Ha ha ha! Ah, low-grade misogyny. He didn't say that part. Theodore bursts out laughing, shaking his head. There was one girl, though, Ursula. She never let our pranks frighten her. She gave as good as she got. I loved that girl, but I never could tell her that. I used to write her letters and love poetry, but I could never give them to her. I took them to the Tree of Tales instead out in the forest and asked the spirits to bring us together. One time I gave her a little wooden badger I'd carved, told her that it reminded me of her because she was fierce too. I don't think she liked that. Let that be a lesson to you. If you're going to compare a girl to an animal, choose something more majestic than a badger. But that was the closest I ever got to telling her how I felt. Theodore sighs. That reminds me of a story. Okay, now we can keep listening to him, we can leave, or we finally have the option. We can show him the trinket. Should we show him the trinket, chat? We could jump in and be like, here! I tied an onion to my belt. Badgers are kick-ass. Trinket, show it! Show it! He's like, let me tell you a story. I'm like, don't look at this! Look at this! Look at this trinket! Badger, 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 badger. Show trinket. Break his heart. Do you mean this one? Okay. Alright, so we're going to show him the trinket. When you show Theodore the trinket you found in Eventide Forest, his story trails off and dies in his throat. Oh, my My word, he says, taking it from you with trembling hands. He peers down at the wooden badger, seeming to see it more with his fingers than with his watery eyes. This is the very one. I gave this to Ursula when we were both so very young. A smile spread slowly across his face, crinkling his wrinkles like a withered apple. It didn't have these letters carved into it then, though. T and U, Theodore and Ursula. You found this at the Tree of Tales? Hand trembling, he reaches inside his sawdust-covered woolen coat and withdraws a letter, stiff and dry and crinkling with age, and sealed with a dollop of red wax. I think the spirit of the Tree of Tales is telling me that it's finally time. Why else would you bring this talisman into my hands? She must have carved in our initials and placed it there herself. He looks down at the letter, smoothing it on the countertop in front of him. Oh, but I still can't bear to face her. I feel like such a fool letting it go so long. He holds out the letter, his voice wavering. Do you think you might deliver this to her for me? She shouldn't be hard to find. She's run the Countess in since her husband died. Okay, now, there's a lot of things that get marked. So we lose the wooden trinket. So the wooden trinket is lost. But we gained the love letter. We got a love letter. You received this sealed letter from Theodore, asked us to deliver it to Ursula. So we got a love letter. We got a love letter. Mark story point 03. Mark 1 progress in heroism. Time passes. And this encounter is complete. Actually, chat, we're the Dragonholt Postal Service. We could, you know what, chat? We could, if we go right now, we could get to the Countess Inn before it closes. If we go right now, we could get to the Countess Inn. But let me put it up there and see what you want to do. Because this encounter is over. So what do you think? We could go to the Countess Inn, which is right there, just before the end of the evening, I'm guessing. Because after that, it's going to be the end of day 2. The drunken hog. Gregory's just like, I don't want to give this, I don't care about this freaking, who cares? Go to the drunken hog. Let's get drunk. Everybody must get drunk. But I never thought I would be so alone. Everybody must get stoned. I actually saw Dylan at the University of Connecticut years and years ago. His voice was a disaster, but it's always a disaster. But I'll say this. He still, you know, he sang and like there was still some cool stuff. His band had 2 drummers. His band was incredibly legit. And after like he did like 2 encores at least. And in his second encore, he did the Everybody Must Get Stoned and the crowd went nuts. Now, I do not myself smoke pot. I'm not wild. It's not, I don't do drugs of any kind. So it's just not my thing. But I have to say it was funny when he did that. And you heard that, and freaking everybody at the Yukon was just like, woohoo. It was funny. Dylan's band was super good. I mean, listen, just because his voice was bad, I mean, his voice was never amazing. He was still there doing it, whatever. And his band was super legit. His band was not Slipknot, no. That double drum, though, was crazy. Well, when I was a young man, my romantic stories would be like, and then there was the time that the girl ignored me, and then there was the time that this other girl I liked didn't pay any attention to me, and then there was the time that It took a little while, all right? It took a little while. I didn't actually start officially dating, really, until my senior year in college, barely. And then graduate school, all of a sudden, I got into my first graduate year, and that all changed. And all of a sudden, it was, then I had 2 serious relationships within 2 years. Within a year. I had 2 serious relationships, and then the third one was my wife, and that's all she wrote. So. Oh. You know, right. No, I did know that Slipknot had 2 drummers, actually. I did know that. Ooh, thank you very much to... Oh, thank you! Brambleberry Bear pledging $5 to the Patreon. Yay! Thank you. Thank you very much. Is that you, Blackberry? Look at that. We're up to 205. Look at that number. Thank you. I appreciate that, Blackberry, assuming that was you. Unless there's another Brambleberry. It's been a little while, actually, since someone did that live on stream, and I could call that out. Thank you so much. I am really enjoying these... Can I say I'm really enjoying these Legacy streams? I mean, I also have really been loving the Neverwinter Nights 2 streams, so it's not like that's been a negative. But I've really been having a good time with this. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you, Blackberry Bear, so much. That's really kind of you. That means that you're going to get the newsletter every month that I send out. So, yeah, I've really been digging it. Really been digging it. Okay, so... I think I last called it already, so we're going to have us go to the Countess Inn. All right, 4,200. 4,200. All right. The Countess Inn. A painted sign showing a woman's profile with a silver coronet adorns this 2-story building. The ground floor is of pale red stone, while the upper story is a sprawling half-timber affair, hanging over the entrance and supported by thick wooden posts. Flower boxes filled with colorful flowers are arranged between the support beams. If this is your first time visiting this location, and it is 8742, the Countess Inn's common room is hung with old faded banners, most showing some variant of a black and white dragon crest, the coat of arms of the various rulers of Dragonholt going back generations. The far wall is painted with an expansive mural, showing a large tree that you take to be the great oak at the heart of Eventide Forest, its boughs enfolding the figure of a green-eyed woman wearing a silver coronet, presumably Countess Regina. Every time I see green-eyed woman, I think of Big Trouble in Little China. Green eyes, Mr. Burton. The patrons in the common room are a collection of men and women of various races, all in their middle or later years, well-to-do, judging from their clothing. They talk quietly in small groups or sit reading or napping. Yeah, definitely, Miranda. By one of the 2 hearths on either side of the room. Yep, Kim Cattrall. You find yourself matching their demeanor, walking more carefully, lowering your voice almost without meaning to. An elderly human woman in a green dress sits at a table directly beneath the painted tree and waves you over as soon as she catches your eye. "Welcome to the Countess Inn," she says in a hushed tone. "You must be new in the village. I'm Ursula. If there's anything you need, don't hesitate to ask me or my daughter." She motions towards a slender, almost ethereal woman in her middle years carrying a tray through the common room. "Pretty young thing, isn't she? The only one of my children left. The others have all moved away." Now, if story point 03 is marked, and it is, 7276. You offer the sealed envelope to Ursula, and she begins to smile as soon as she sees the handwriting on the outside. "Oh, lady's grace," she breathes. "Theo, you damn fool. It took you long enough." All right, you lose the love letter. Easy come, easy go. We had a love letter, then we lost it. All right. She breaks the seal and spreads the letter on the table before her. "Candle, girl, candle," she says, and her willowy daughter brings a candle in a silver holder, placing it on the table to cast its light on the letter. Ursula reads carefully, tears beading at the corners of her eyes. Then she stands, presses the letter to her heart, and closes her eyes. "I have something for you," she says, and steps through a door almost invisible under the mural's paint. A moment later, she returns holding a time-worn cloth doll that she cradles with obvious affection. "My mother made this doll for me when we first came to Dragonholt. I had no friends then, you see, so she told me the doll would keep me from being lonely. And it has, for all these long years." She didn't move away, she ate them. She reaches out and places the doll in your hands. Its colors are fading, but its stitches still hold true. Something about its crooked face seems welcoming. "I don't need this anymore. I won't be lonely. I want you to have it. Maybe you can find some other poor, lonely child in need, as you seem to be going about doing good deeds. There was that one girl who had that broken doll, but we didn't have it fixed. All right, you gained the cloth doll. Right, we lost a love letter, but we got a cloth doll. You were given this cloth doll as thanks for delivering a letter to Ursula. She asked you to give it to someone who's in need of luck and love. It's Spoony. Yep, exactly, Triffid. Yep. But unfortunately, it was not to be. Okay, the love letter is gone, but we do have a cloth doll. Okay. Mark story point K8. Okay. Mark 1 progress in heroism. We're on track 5 of heroism, chat. We're moving up the list here. She sighs and settles down again in her seat. I shall have to think about how to respond to Theo. Might be fitting to let him stew a week or two. But in the meantime, was there anything I could do for you? All right, we can either get something to eat, which I have a feeling this is going to go over well, Mrs. Dunsel. We can either get something to eat, which means we spend 5 gold, or we leave the Countess in. Time passes, the encounter is complete. What do we think? We'll have to do that tomorrow morning, though, because the bakery's not open yet, CQ. But we could go to the bakery tomorrow morning when it opens. So what do you think, chat? Do we get something to eat for 5 gold, or do we bail out? To be clear, we have 270 gold, so we're in pretty good shape on the gold front. Food! This is like a late night Denny's run, right? Or a late night Waffle House run. Like we did a bunch of renovating a store, helping a friend in the morning. Then we like studied in the library all day. We go to a tavern. We like show this dude the trinket. He's like, oh, we're blah blah blah. Gives us the love letter. We go to the Countess Inn, give the woman the love letter. She gives us a cloth doll, and now we're just like, you know what? Get me a Grand Slam, all right? give me the all day special. I want the 2 waffles. I want the full bacon sausage. Give me 3 scrambled eggs and a slice of pie. Yeah, like that, that's what this is. Oh man. Yeah, but this bakery doesn't done. So we went there before, and it said that if it was after a certain time, it was closed. So food. I don't know if we did or not. The curly fries with some ranch. Food. Yeah, diner together. Oh man, I miss that so much. I miss those. I mean, like I miss being able to go to those late night things sometimes. Although I probably would not be doing that at 12 midnight my time, 12:30 my time. I probably would not be doing that. But IHOP pancakes, food, consume mass quantities. Oh man, I used to do that way back when I was working at Conperg for a summer. And it was, I think, the year between my sophomore and junior year before I moved to the University of Connecticut stores. I was at UConn Hartford at the time. So it was summer of 92. And that was, I think, where I got to be more of a night owl. Because you would go, you would do the whatever, you would like do the canvassing. You would get back at like 8:30, 9 o'clock. And then at that point, you were still wired. And also, we were all like, 72. I was 20. I wasn't even 20. I was 19. I would turn 20 September of that year, so I was 19. So I would go off, do canvassing, and then I was like, whatever. Plus, I mean, there were some girls there that I was interested in, and like there were some young women that I found attractive that were working at Conperg, and so I also did that, the whole drill. And so I went out with all of them, and like, and that was the typical thing. We would do Conperg, we would do a diner run, then we would go to Trinity College in Hartford, and we would play Ultimate Frisbee with like no lights on and probably like violating all kinds of rules of everything. And then I would get home at like 12:30 or whatever and wake up at like, 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock the next day because you wouldn't start canvassing until later in the afternoon. So. Exactly. Diner. IHOP was what I grew up with also, except that I agree that I think Waffle House is better. I think I agree with Rock God. I mean, I don't think IHOP is garbage, but I think Waffle House is better. I like Waffle House. I know that it's like a constant meme and it's a joke and everything. I'm sorry, like I like their waffles. I don't know what to say. Like I like breakfast food. You know? The IHOP's open and it delivers. See, now if there was a Waffle House that delivered, that would be super, super dangerous. I wonder, actually, I'm going to look. I'm not actually going to order this right now, but because I have food downstairs that I can get instead, but I am curious. Is there an IHOP? Let's see. Well, the closest IHOP is 13 miles away and it's closed until 7:30 in the morning. That's closed. That's closed. All right. Is there a Waffle House? The answer to this is no. I already know the answer to this. The closest Waffle House is 36 miles away in Long Island. Outstanding. It's not even the right Waffle House. It's an American Waffle House. I don't know what that is. It's not a real Waffle House. Your mother's house? What the? Yeah. So the Waffle House is not even legit. What's up, Rising Tides? Okay, Rising Tides, you just missed a conversation we were having. You just missed a conversation we were having about, like, late night going to grab with friends, going to grab, like, a diner run or, like, Waffle House or IHOP, and, like, how cool that used to be. Wistful longing, exactly. I am so looking forward to the end of the pandemic. I can't even tell you. Because you know where we do that? Actually, there is a place where I still do something like this. And you know where it is? It's at cons, it's at conventions. Especially like Gen Con or Origins. Going with friends of mine, playing a game until like midnight, and then going to grab some like late night snack or something with them is so great. It is so freaking great. Oh my God. Yeah, that would be fun actually, Triffid. That would really be fun. We really have to get as many people as we can to Worldcon. We really have to try. I got to get Rising Tides up there. They really are. Dude, I got to get you up there to Worldcon somehow. I got to get Rising Tides up there. I got to convince Mike Underwood to be up there if he's not going to be there already. I need to get, even those of you who are not authors, I need to get you, I'm sure Prince Justin will be up there. I need to get people, I need to figure out a way to get some of you to Washington, D.C. in mid-December, Fried Kentucky chicken, and you're going to tell me it's not actually fried Kentucky chicken. It really does, Dunsel. It really does. It really is so cool. And some of these friends are people that I generally don't see except at conventions, too. So a meetup. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I would like to do that. If I end up doing something where, because I'm going to be announcing where I am at Origins, and I met at Gen Con, of course, I've met Mrs. Dunsel and Commander Dunsel at Gen Con in the past, so I've actually met them. I have a picture with them to prove it, in fact. But it would be cool, if people are going to be at Origins, it would be cool to meet up with some people there, to like some of the channel folks, Arvanauts, etc. If people aren't going to be at Origins, though, I will, if CanCon is open, I'm going to be there. I hopefully will meet some people up in Canada there. If not, I'm probably going to be at Worldcon. There's a very good chance I will be. Especially if they actually put me on programming, I will be. And in that case, it would be cool to do a meetup for that. If it manages to become a state, yeah, I hear that. Exactly. Yeah. No, that's cool. We'll definitely have to talk more about that. That'll be good. All right. So I completely forgot whether, I think everybody said food after all that. I think when we were all done, everybody said, let's get food. So that's going to cost us 5 gold. Okay, 5 gold. And this better restore some stamina. Ursula's daughter, whose name you still haven't managed to coax out of her, brings you a platter mounted high with lightly spiced boiled vegetables, rich red beans, and a cut of cold mutton. Well, I'm down with the boiled vegetables, like root vegetables. Rich red beans sounds good. I'm not sure about the cut of cold mutton. I'm not sure why cold, but the food is a little on the bland side, but filling and seems appropriate to the clientele. Cold and filling. Okay. You recover 2 stamina. All right, so we're back up to max stamina. Time passes. The encounter is complete, and 8 time has passed in day 2. That is 93:30. Alrighty. You return to your room for the night. Despite the comforts of the Swan, you have a fitful rest, woken in the night by thunder. Heavy rain pelts your windows, and strong winds rattle the shutters. Somehow, you manage to fall asleep before dawn. Okay, we recover 3 stamina, which we don't need because we're already at max. We recover 1 skill. We didn't disable any skills, so that's fine. Activation token doesn't count for us. The chapter of this chapter of the story ends here. When you're ready to begin the next chapter, read entry 5322. So I would say like most beef, but gamier. Okay. So the only thing that I want us to do, chat, because I'm going to have to wrap up here in a bit, but I am thinking of doing one thing, which is, are you folks okay with us after we wake up and do whatever's going to happen at the Swan, going to the bakery? And here's why. I could place a note for this too. But going to the bakery means we could pick it up in the morning and try to give the daughter, the one who was trying to get someone to fix her doll, give her the doll that we have. Now, the problem is she may already not care because it's been like 2 days since that happened, but that is one option. Ooh! Is the preparation for a thing, does that mean that another thing may be there? Maybe in the vicinity of your abode? Is that, do I take that to mean, is that what that means? Rising tides? I'm going to start 5532 just because I want to do that. The thing tomorrow. Yes. Yes, that means it'll be... Sorry, I got very excited. I'm sorry. I apologize, camera. You've been very good today. I apologize unreservedly. That means that Rising Tide's new computer that we got because of the support from the Patreon, that was Patreon money that paid for it, that Rising Tide's computer has arrived, and that means that there's a chance we'll see it in working as of Sunday. As of Sunday. The thing. That's what it means. And that means that someone just supported the Patreon. That's what that flashing light just meant. I'm really excited about both those things. It's a little delayed, but that was what the Blackberry Bear supported the Patreon meant. It also could mean that Rising Tides has been named a Nobel Prize winner, in which case I feel really stupid. I can't believe that we've had this discussion. And so, yeah. Yep, and then, yeah, no, I'm so sorry. I mean, we didn't do it, but I was still sorry on your behalf for what happened with the customs thing. Oh, man, I'm so excited. I can't wait. I just can't wait to see it because, like, not only am I excited for the streaming aspect of it for you, but I'm just excited because I was just thinking about it. Like, you've produced such great stuff already, and I was just thinking how cool it'll be. Like, less stress, I'm hoping for you to have a computer that you can feel good about and work with that'll make it a little bit easier for you, which is not pressure on, by the way, for you to do any more great work than you're already doing. I'm just saying that I would like it if it ends up being less stress for you as you're doing it. That's all. So I'm excited about that. And that's awesome, Shadowed. And I'm really, by the time I knew that's what was going on, I couldn't even add support because people had already funded it. So I'm really glad that happened, that we were able to get support for Rising Tides. So that's awesome. Thanks for doing that, dude. Shadowed is a super generous person, as people, I think, probably already know, but just in case they didn't. Okay. 5322. All right. So let's do this. We're just going to go to the bakery, and then we're gonna wrap from there. So 5322. You wake late the next morning to knocking at your door. Oh. Forgive the disturbance, dear, you hear Sapphire's voice saying from the hall. Someone from the manor, from Countess Regina's household, has come to speak with you. You quickly dress yourself, and Sapphire leads you to a private sitting room where your guest is waiting for you. Timothy, the Countess's steward, fussing in a ruffled yellow shirt. Aha. Thank you for seeing me, he says. I trust you are finding Dragonholt to your satisfaction. He stands and paces to a window, peering through it for a moment, then turning to you. I shall skip past the pleasantries, as I fear time may be of the essence. The Countess's son, Philip, is missing. Oh, crap. He was last seen yesterday, leaving for a day trip to visit the Tree of Tales in the forest with his manservant, Talbot. They rode 2 of her ladyship's best horses and should have been gone and back in a handful of hours. Timothy sighs and dabs at his face with a lace handkerchief. The horses came back riderless early this morning. Timothy reaches to his belt and places a velvet bag on the table before him. It clinks. The Countess wishes to contract your services. Philip must be found, but none of her ladyship's guards are, he pauses, picking his words, ideally suited for such a task. Celise recommended you specifically for this. Timothy slides the purse across the table to you. You gain 50 gold. Geez, man, if this goes on, we can just buy and sell Dragonholt ourselves. This is in advance for any expenses that may accrue. The rest awaits the safe return of Regina's youngest child. Please, hurry. The family can bear only so much grief. Okay, so we're going to have to go through this, chat. I'll do this quickly. Do we want to say, what do you mean so much grief? Do you want to say, what can you tell me about Talbot? Do we want to say, what can you tell me about Philip? Or do we want to say no more? So, what do you mean so much grief? What can you tell me about Talbot? What can you tell me about Philip? Or say no more? Yeah, exactly. Well, after we're done with this, we'll leave and go give the girl the doll. Like, that's the plan. We hit up the bakery, then we go and we solve problems. So yeah, so grief, Talbot, Philip, or say no more. Talbot, Philip. I know, right? So Talbot, fill her up in grief. All right, we have one of each so far. Talbot, fill her up in grief. Talbot, Philip, or grief. One vote each so far. 2 for Talbot, 1 Philip, 1 grief. Immediate suspicion falls on the manservant. Immediately you're just like, manservant. 3 Talbot, Philip, grief. Got to find out about this manservant. All right, 3 Talbot, Philip, grief. Going once. 3 Talbot, 1 Philip, 1 grief. Going twice. Talbot it is. What can you tell me about Talbot? Talbot is a steady man and has been Philip's trusted servant these past 10 years. He was once a member of her ladyship's guard before an injury forced him to seek lighter duty. Timothy puffs out his chest. I myself was once a soldier, you know. Logistics. He pauses as if lost in memory for a moment, then returns his attention to you. In any case, Talbot is a good man and a personal friend. If any harm has befallen young Philip, you can rest assured it befell Talbot first. Okay, so, what can you tell me about Philip or say no more? What do you think, chat? What can you tell me about Philip or say no more? What do we want to say? Philip or say no more? Philip? 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 Phil? Phil. All right, Philip going once. Philip going twice. Okay, his royal brightness is Philip. All right, what can you tell me about Philip? Philip is a darling lad. 13. Oh no, I tell a lie. He has just celebrated his 14th name day. He is bright and inquisitive, always reading books and selling stories. This trip of his to the Tree of Tales is just the sort of thing he does, you understand? Timothy smiles and shakes his head. He once brought home an injured bird and tried to get me to nurse it back to health. I have no idea how to care for a bird, of course, and neither did Philip. And so the bird died after only a few days, poor thing. Philip cried and insisted we bury it beneath the family's apple tree in the orchard. The steward sighs and looks directly into your eyes. Please, bring Philip home. All right, so say no more. Say no more, nudge, nudge, say no more, wink, wink, know what I mean, say no more. Okay, 4350. You return to the common room to find Sapphire waiting to pounce. Well, she asks, what did the steward want? Was it about the Countess's son? He's missing, I hear. Tell me. You explain in brief terms what Timothy asked of you while Sapphire fixes you a breakfast of oatcakes, butter, and a small basket of berries. Man, that sounds good too. That poor child, she asks when you finish both your meal and your story. Well, you may want to see my niece at her shop. She might have potions or something for you. Good luck. Philip is a good lad, and I'd hate to see him hurt. Then Sapphire is called away to deal with a new guest, and you walk out the front door of the Swan still eating berries. Okay, this encounter is complete. When you are prepared to enter Eventide Forest, visit the dragon statues. Okay. Visit dragon statues to start search for Philip. All right, good. But first, we're going to a damn bakery before we wrap up here. So, right. Okay, encounter is complete. We're going to the bakery. I'm not even going to ask because that's what we said we were going to do. Okay, bakery. Let's see. 5 or less time has passed today. This is day 3. A silver bell hangs from the door, presumably to tinkle whenever it opens or closes. However, the traffic coming in and out of the bakery is so steady the door has been propped open with a wedge of wood. Within, you see a copper-skinned dwarf girl standing on a stool behind a glass case displaying a panoply of delectables. She takes coins from the steady tide of patrons and passes over round loaves of brown bread or baskets piled high with flaky pastries. The stool wobbles alarmingly as she strains to reach some of the more distant foods, but she never falls. A muscular dwarf man comes bustling through the rear door, laden with steaming loaves of bread. Okay. Right. He quickly transfers them to the shelves behind the girl. Careful, Penny, he says. Wouldn't want you to fall now. I'm being careful, Da, says the girl with a roll of her eyes. We need more of the honey bread. Ah, we always need more of the honey bread, the baker grumbles as he stomps back through the door. I've some in the oven now. How can I help ye? Penny asks you when you reach the front of the line. All right, now, we can get something to eat, which is 5 gold. We can offer to help with the rush. We can give Penny a gift. We can give her the cloth doll, or we can leave the bakery. What are you going to do, chat? We did come here originally to do that, so are we going to give her the gift? We got something to eat, help with the rush, give Penny a gift, or leave. No, it's not. This is day 3. It's not. I checked. This is actually day 3 this time, Miranda. And it doesn't actually even say, if a 5 or less times passed today, read the entry that corresponds to the current day. It's day 3. Yeah, no, it is day 3. Doll. And I don't know whether the rush, I don't know whether you can help with the rush and then do the doll. I'm not sure. Let me just double check and see if you can, because I hate it when they do that and you're like, nope, can't do that. You can. All right. So just so you know, you can help with the rush and then help give Penny the doll. You can do that. You can do the rush and then the doll. So you can do that. Okay, rush. I have doll. So rush and the doll. Okay, so it looks like rush is what people are looking at. All right, so. Oh, would ye? Sorry. Oh, would ye? Says Penny, clapping her hands. I'd like that. She turns on her stool and bellows. Da! We got some extra hands now. The dwarf baker comes bustling back out into the front room, brushing flour from his hands. What's this now? Well, I can't say we don't need the help. Soon you're installed behind the glass counter, taking orders and money from a steady stream of patrons. Penny, with all the grave solemnity a 9-year-old can muster, teaches you everything you need to know, showing you where the money is to be placed, helping you remember all the prices, and teaching you where to find each item on the menu. Ah, Penny, I see you've been promoted, says one customer, a willowy human woman with a sad smile. How's your new help working out? Very well, Penny declares. I believe I'll be able to help me down the back soon. I do believe you'll be running the entire shop by sundown, the customer says. Mark 2 progress in social practice, which we have not done yet. When we actually get to 6, then we'll be able to spend an experience and get deception, empathy, performance, persuasion, or streetwise. I really love that system being able to do that. I know. That's what I love too, Mrs. Dunsel. I love it so much. I don't have to worry about waking anybody up. Okay, 2 time passes. Well, we knew that. Okay. In time, Penny leaves you to your own devices behind the counter and busies herself with bringing food to patrons seated at the bakery's few tables, vanishing into the kitchen to shout orders at her father. You scramble to keep up, but eventually the rush dies down and the baker claps you on the shoulder with one floury hand. "You done good work," he says. "Let me fix you a little something." He presses a loaf of steaming golden honey bread on you, along with a wedge of cheese and a trencher of rich-smelling stew, then crouches down by his copper-haired daughter. "Thank you for all your help today, treasure. Run along and play now, and I'll see you for supper time." She kisses her forehead and races to a shelf behind the counter, where she takes down a small toy owl knit from colored yarn. Okay, now we could either say thank you for the meal, or now we could give her the doll. So now we could give her the doll if we want. Do we give her the doll? Now we could give her the doll. Look, you have an owl, but have you seen this doll? Doll, doll, doll. And we do it like the guy in Mulan who's just like, besides, a little girl needs her dolly. Still one of the more underrated Disney villains. We'll exchange the doll for a food. Okay, so it looks like we're handing over the doll. You crouch down and offer Ursula's doll to the dwarf girl. She creeps forward, taking the doll from you as if she thinks this is some cruel joke. "For me?" she says. "Oh, thank ye. I love her." She squeezes the doll tight, then lifts up her stuffed owl. "Thane Owl, meet your new friend. Oh, does she have a name?" she asks you. You lose the cloth doll. Hey, listen, we're not losing a cloth doll, we're gaining a friend. That's how to look at it. All right, we lose the cloth doll. We mark 1 progress in heroism. We're up to 6. We're only 2 points away from being up being up at 8 heroism, which gives us our fame increases by 1, and we get an experience. So then we would have 2 experience. You tell her about Ursula and her mother and how the doll was her friend when she was lonely. Penny nods, drinking in your story. "Oh, yes," she says. "I'll call you Ursula then," she says to the doll. "Oh, wait here," she says to you, and then rushes out the door. You hear her feet clattering up a stair and then running about above you, and soon she's back, holding a whirling shell in her hand. "I found this," she explains, slightly out of breath, "when we first came to Dragonholt, me da and me. It's been me good luck charm." She nods. "I want you to have it now." All right, you gain the polished shell. Polished shell, which is item J. Give an item, get an item. So we get a polished shell. Shiny round shell was given to you by Penny. When you clutch it near your ear, you can hear the whispers of the spirits. That might actually be useful if we're going to that Tree of Tales at some point. Okay, so we do that. Mark story points I7 and Q5. Okay, and Q5. Right? Time passes. Time has come today. And this encounter is complete. Okay, now, chat. The last thing we're going to need to do, that we're going to need to think about here is, remember that they said the thing about the apothecary, but we've also got to go deal with this guy, and it's already halfway through the day. So we could hit the apothecary shop and then go to the dragon statues and have that start the quest and then call it there, if that's what you want to do. I don't want to railroad you, though. You guys can go, you folks can go where you want. But I wanted to let you know about that because we're halfway through the day already. So we could hit up the apothecary shop, which is literally next to the bakery, and talk to Miriam about getting stuff, and then, which is what Sapphire suggested, and then go to the dragon statues if you want. Or just go to the dragon statues directly. If we're going to do that, we can do that, call it, and then leave it at that. We could wrap. I mean, the only reason I was worried about wrapping Yeah, I mean, I guess we could. The only thing I was worried about was the fact that I was worried that, yeah, visit dragon statues. Okay, yeah, we could also wrap it now. So it's, I guess it's up. I guess it's like, let me see the time. Yeah, it's late. No, I should wrap it. No, Trivet is right. Trivet is right. I'm having a good time. But so we have this here. So I'm gonna put in a note. Apothecary first. Okay, because that way we know. So, pretty good, chat. We got a lot of more story stuff sort of checked off there. You can see we have a lot of boxes marked already. We got a lot of gold, 315 gold. We have used up 2.5 days now. We're in halfway through day 3. We did a lot of work on heroism today. We are marked off 6 on heroism. We have 4 marked off on academic study. That was our day 2, so we've only got 2 days more to get with that. Then we've got combat training. We're only 1 away from being able to be up at 6, at which point we could use our experience to get either to get dueling or military. Physical training, we got a couple of checks in that. We have a while to go there. We got 2 into social practice. We have a while to go there. We still haven't done anything in spiritual meditation. We haven't been to the shrine yet. So that's what we've got so far. And we're only 2 points away from getting a fame and an experience. So we are moving in the right direction. Also, we finished up with the mine. We got a war room. We got a healing potion. We still have that from before. We still have the strange mushroom, which we still haven't eaten. We have the polished shell we got today from Penny, from the daughter. And we got the war rune that we found when we beat Splig at the mine. So all in all, chat, this was quite a productive day. And I've just been paged to work. Oh my god. Well, I'm sorry that happened, but I'm glad you got a chance to play with us first, CQ. So I hope everything goes okay. I'm sorry that happened, but I'm glad that worked out really well. I'm glad that you got done with, were able to get done with us first, because that is good. So that, chat, is going to do it for us today. This was great. I had a really good time today doing this, and we actually had a really good day of streaming. And now I'm done for a couple of days. So Wednesday is going to be off because the lovely folks from the Shadow crew have been put to next Wednesday, assuming Shadow can do that. They're hoping that Wednesday is actually going to work. That is the theory. Let me just get rid of these polls here. Close. Yes. And there's that. So yeah. So we are done now. So I'm done now Wednesday. So they're going to be hopefully moving to next Wednesday. Thursday is off. Also, it was good to see you live streaming when you came in. I think I said hello, but good to see you, man, as always. Thursday we're off as well. Friday we will be back. And Friday is going to be Esper Genesis. So that's going to be happening 8:30 p.m. Eastern on Friday night. Saturday at 7 p.m. we've got more Palace of the Red Pasha with the Infinity and Beyond crew. That has definitely picked up a lot in intensity. It looks like, if all goes well, that for ArvCon, we're going to have great sessions from all of the tabletop stuff. It looks like we'll wrap Palace of the Red Pasha if all goes well during ArvCon. It looks like we'll wrap Storm King's Thunder if all goes well, D&D with GOG Storm King's Thunder during ArvCon. So there's going to be some great stuff going on during that time. And hopefully the Shadow crew will have a good session itself that it's got ready to go. Hopefully we will have as I said, a good Esper Genesis stuff to go. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. So that's gonna be Saturday. Then Sunday, remember, Sound Clash the Clampdown if all goes well with the Rising Tide's new computer. So you're gonna see a fully operational battle station. Okay, it's gonna be awesome. So I'm excited for that. And in the meantime, I am going to be doing work over the next couple of days. I got an appointment for a haircut. Finally, although it's not going to be happening until next week, but I got an appointment for a haircut. So someone can help me shape this into something more like what I want. I don't know that I want like all the way short like I used to, but I don't want it this long. So I have to figure something out. But anyway, that's happening. So we're making progress, chat. We're making progress. So that is happening. And yes, ArvCon is coming up next, late in May. I will have an official date. It usually is over Memorial Day weekend, but I'll have in the States. But I'll have an official weekend for everybody within the next few, probably the next couple of weeks. Well, the next week or so, I should know for sure what the date's going to be. I'm also going to let my mods know about it. I'm also going to put out, I'm sending out my emails this weekend on Sunday. I'm going to send out my emails to the companies that support us. Usually we get support from places like Tin Man Games, Harebrained Schemes, Nomad Games has backed us a lot in the past. We have had in the past Colin McCombs, various companies that have backed us. I'm hoping we're going to get those folks. I hope that we'll be able to get some stuff from our sponsor, Pegasus Spieler, for Talisman. I'm hoping we can maybe get some stuff from Alligator Alley for Esper Genesis. I'm hoping that we can maybe get some sponsorship love from some of the people through Emily Morganti, who is my contact that does PR stuff for places like Wadjet Games, that does all the like the Samaritan Paradox and stuff like that. You may know them, and also does stuff for Inkle, and does stuff for Inkle, so maybe we can get some love from Inkle. So we'll see. But ARVCon, I hope, which I think is like the 6th ARVCon. Are we up to 6 already? It's like at least the 5th. And it gets bigger every year. I'm also going to have our musical acts back. I really hope I'm going to have Jordan Gonzalez, that's indie, back. I'm hoping that we'll be able to have Kilgore Trout back. I'm hoping we'll get Chronowolf back. I'm hoping I might even be able to add someone to that list and sort of, pick up the music pace. So yeah, a lot of good stuff happening. So I'm hoping for that. So. Ooh, oh my God, ARVCon Fringe. Oh my God, ARVCon Fringe, dude, would be so sweet. Because eventually what I want, honestly, I eventually want ARVCon to be an in-person event. Eventually. I mean, there will always, of course, be a remote component, naturally. But I would love it for someday to be able to actually do this where we get people that could actually do something out of it. Gary Con started that way. Gary Gygax's thing started with him just having some friends over in his basement. And then eventually it expanded to what eventually, it's its own thing still. But it also split at a certain point and became Gen Con. And we know what that ended up as. I would love to see ARVCon Fringe, dude. I would love to be able to see ARVCon Fringe. Like, that would be so neat. And I would love to be able to feature more indie game designer stuff. That would be slick. Yeah. So hopefully we can do that. That would be really neat, man. I hope we can talk more about that. But in any case, that is going to do it for me for now. I had a great time today. I hope everyone else did as well. And I think we are going to do a raid, actually, because we got some people, and we did a lot of great streaming today. So let's see who we've got to raid this evening. I know who it's going to be. Yep, I actually have not raided this person for a while, and I actually watched this guy a fair bit. I am going to be raiding someone who is doing a big Pokemon challenge that he calls Ironmon, which is basically this thing where it's like this super strict rules in terms of what he allows. Like, you can only catch one thing of this level and you can't heal more than this number of times. And like, it's super difficult. And he puts these things together, these challenges. And he is doing a challenge thing. He's actually doing a year of challenges like this, which is all going to be going to benefit World Against Hunger, which is a big anti-famine organization. So that's all cool. And this channel has sponsored me before. So cool. I'm glad Live Suing. And thank you, Blackberry Bear, for supporting the Patreon and everything. So we're going to do a raid over there. And the way that we do raids is very simple. I apologize that I'm back here for a minute. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll just be here for a moment. Okay. I want to thank everyone for being awesome. And I'm going to let you know about the raids. This is how we do them. Arvanauts have landed, followed by Twitch raid. Lowercase Twitch, uppercase R, lowercase AID. If you are a sub, you're going to do this. Arvanauts have landed, and then you've got Arvany Hype, Arvany Roar, Arvany Smug, etc., etc. You can throw all those out there as soon as you get this, because that will give you more information that you can use. So you can feel free to do all of that when you are brought over auto-magically. Please go do the raid, and then after that, feel free to do whatever. But it'd be great if we could have a good showing over there. I also want to remind everybody ways to support us. Thank you already. I'm not going to go through it. I've already gone through it a bunch, but I'm just going to do it really quick. Please follow the channel. Check out the YouTube !ArvTube. Sub to me over there, please. We're really trying to build the sub numbers there. !ArvCourt is the Discord channel. !ArvTweets is my Twitter. Website is arvineleron.com. !ArvShop for merchandise from Adventures in Middle-earth and Infinity and Beyond. That's going to be going through some renovation and reworking fairly soon. Exclamation point. What did I say? Arv Shop, exclamation point Arv Treon is the Patreon, just like Blackberry Bear did. Build that support, 23 patrons 205. Exclamation point Arv Treon for that. And of course, sub to the channel, as a couple of you folks did today. Thank you so much for that. Also, of course, the publishing, exclamation point Icarus for my Icarus graphic novel, exclamation point Library for Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library, my 5e adventure and source book from Alligator Alley Entertainment, and exclamation point Gray Shade Chaos for details about my Gray Shade Kickstarter. Finally, exclamation point BLM, Black Lives Matter. It really does. And if you watch the verdict and the reactions to it, you know how important it is for us to continue to push this point, and we're going to continue to do so. Black Lives Matter. And exclamation point help now, the World Health Organization's page on suicide prevention. Reach out to others if you need help. Please reach out to others if they need help as well. And with that now, I am going to say good night. I want to thank all the wonderful people who made this an awesome stream. I want to thank, I shouldn't have gone over here so fast, Rock God, Shadow Mage, Triffity Mats. I want to thank the Rising Tides, best mods in the business, awesome people. Thank you to my subscribers, Rock God, Shadow Mage, Triffity Mats. Thank you to, let's see, Commander Dunsel. Thank you to Configuration Queen, Live Suing, Marinda, Mrs. Dunsel. Thank you to X Rogan. Thank you as well to Blackberry Bear for the Patreon support and everyone within that group. Thank you so much as well to Cinder. Thank you to Gigafrost, to Harlequin, Mystaria. What's up, Mystaria? Thank you to Salahara. Thank you to Streamers Area, which may or may not be a bot. Thank you to Tontoms, TNS Mephiston, U Christensen, and VNK. That is going to do it for me. And Shadowed Mage gifted a tier 1 sub. Thank you. Thank you so much, Shadowed. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Now Blackberry Bear is a Patreon supporter and a sub. So that's really awesome. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And that's really awesome. I appreciate that very much. Thanks, dude. And there we go. That's going to do it for me. Much love to my wonderfully generous and kind community that I love so well. The Argonauts are the best. I will see you folks on Friday for some Esper Genesis in the evening. Until then, everyone, please be good to each other. And everyone, have a good night. Stick around for the raid. That's my webcam. No, it's not. Huh?